What is going on, Casually FC? Welcome to a late edition of the Casually Chelsea show. My apologies for that. As I said in a previous stream, work schedule has been a little hectic as I have a new job currently, and so adapting to it has been a little bit of a stumbling block. So we're here regardless, as I intended to be Wednesday. It's been a while since we've done a Casually Chelsea show, so I did want to catch up to some news and obviously talk about the hot button topics that is going around in the Chelsea community as of now, which you guys mostly know. But before we go ahead and get the show started, big up to the panel, Oliver and Scott. Big up to you guys in the chat who have joined the stream and are here despite being an hour and a half late. But yeah, big up to you guys. Before we go ahead and start the show, as always, smash up the like buttons, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, hit the bell notification so you are notified whenever we do go live. Check the links down in the description for all types of different channels and links to other content that you guys may enjoy. Also, check out the link, check out the comments section, leave a comment, let us know your thoughts on all the topics we're going to be talking about today. And also, last but not least, check out the memberships, 4 different tiers starting at 99p. Great way to help out the channel. Super chats are another way to help out the channel tremendously. So big up to all of you guys who are already in the chat. So let's not further delay what we must talk about. So let's go ahead and start off with the first story, which is Pat Nevin had some quotes. And I added this because I figured it's a little ironic, because we were just talking about how Pat Nevin got sacked and all that. And here we have him doing what I said he should have done in the beginning and probably would have avoided getting a sack. But who knows? With this ownership, he probably would have gotten sacked regardless. But starting off, Pat Nevin here, quote, "Last season, I thought that buying all of these youngsters was a risky strategy. There's very little Premier League experience there, and I thought that the team wouldn't be good for at least 2 seasons. I still stick by that. I have served as chief executive before, and if I was at Chelsea, I wouldn't expect this team to get into the top 4 this season. Instead, I'd expect them to go out, learn, and develop a work ethic. I know it wouldn't happen overnight." I agree. I agree. Maybe this probably should have been the approach he had when he initially came out with those comments. I know a lot of you guys saying, "Oh, but he's telling the truth and all this and that." Listen, my argument was always there's a way of telling the truth whilst also maintaining a level of professionalism, a level of what's the word I'm looking for? It's some level of non-accountability where you give yourself a little bit of leeway when you have these quotes, kind of how like Matt Law works in the opposite direction. What he's saying is true, but he gives himself a little bit of leeway by, wording things a certain way to make it sound a little bit more extreme than it is. So Pat Nevin probably could have done that in the other direction, make it not sound as critical as he should have. But here we go. There's an example of something like he has criticism of the club. He had his doubts, but he worded it in a much more professional way that makes it a lot more digestible and a lot more open to criticism. But I don't know if you guys agree. I don't know what you guys think of these quotes. Oliver, your thoughts? We'll start with you.
I haven't really got a lot to say. I mean, I agree with the quotes for the most part. I mean, I think we're all going to agree that the whole Premier League experience thing, I think that's being really overblown, both by the reports, by Pochettino. I've never rated it as highly as other people, so I can disagree on that aspect. I think quality trumps experience in terms of league experience, but. Yeah, I mean, I echo what you said. He could have taken this approach, but he hasn't. So here we are, and I guess we move because he's not coming back by the seams of things. So it is what it is.
Scott, do you have any 2 cents on this?
I basically feel the same. Like, I agree with the sentiment for them, like most part outside the Premier League experience thing. It's more just the Premier League part that I disagree with. I hear the argument about experience, but this idea it needs to be Premier League experience is bollocks. Because I could easily name you 20 players that came to this league with experience, yes, but no Premier League experience to smash this league a bit. Like I could name you 20 players off the top of my head easily. With thought, I could probably get to 50. So that part I disagree with, but everything else I agree with, and I agree with what you said. Like, this is put in a better way than the comments he made previously.
Yeah, I feel like the previous comments were a little overcritical. It almost made him seem like he was just a journalist not affiliated with the club.
You know what? It almost had a bit. To me, it almost had a little hint of satire to it. Like, oh, look at big Chelsea spending $1 billion and no striker. Like,
yeah,
just doesn't rub
still
off the right
nothing to
way.
show for it. Yeah, it just exactly. It seems satire, a little bit satirical in the sense of like you're almost making fun of the owners. You're almost poking fun at them, which normally in any work environment you don't, unless you have well established that kind of a relationship with your boss. You don't want to push into like the territory where you start making more personal jokes and poking fun at them, because it could get you in trouble. And listen, this new ownership, like I just said, is a new ownership. You don't know these guys. They're not there all the time. Egbali, who we recently found out, and we'll go over it, and in one of the tweets, who we recently found out is more of the person in charge. I think Egbali is the one that owns 60% of this consortium. So it's not really Todd Bowley that's running the show. It's mostly Egbali. But yeah, these guys only came in a year. They're barely there. You don't know them that well. And if you are trying to make some satirical jab at them, you don't know them well like that, if you don't know what kind of sense of humor they have or whatever, it's hard to say those kind of things and expect like, oh yeah, they're going to understand. I'm not too serious, or I'm not too, being too critical. Like, I don't know. This is if it was more satirical than it was, but I mean, that's my 2 cents on the situation. I don't know if we want to add anything to that before we move on to the next topic.
I don't know.
I don't think it's too serious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's not difficult, is it, Marshall? I guess not difficult to be professional. I would say so, but that depends on what level of professionalism. I expect Pat Nevin to have done this long enough that he knows. Like I said, when we first talked about it, he probably made that article knowing full well he was probably going to get the sack. So it's like, I expect him to know already that, some things can't really be said out loud, despite what you think about it. I mean, you can still be honest with yourself, and maybe you can still be honest while also maintaining a level of professionalism. And I wish I could remember the word, but it's just being accountable for your words, but also giving yourself leeway to maybe say it's interpreted differently. Plausible deniability. There you go. So yeah, Pat Nevin probably could have worded that original article in a way where it gives him some plausible deniability, and he can say like, listen, you may have interpreted that way, but what I really meant was this, but let's move on to the next topic, which is we have a list of injury updates. And if you guys live under a rock, you may or may not know that we have gotten quite a bit of injuries in the team since last we spoke. And let's start off with the first big injury, which will lead up to our other topic. Malo Gusto, as of the 2nd of December. So that was last Saturday. So 2 weeks ago, give or take, was sidelined for 2 to 3 weeks. Now, as of today, I believe he is in training.
Yep.
I don't know if he's going to be available to play. He was pictured in training.
There was
we'll see what happens.
Yeah. There was a report that him and Tinko and Lavia were all in training. Obviously,
true.
Take that with a whole heaping of salt.
That for a while,
because we've heard that since Tinko's been back. So take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, that was the report today that all 3 of them are back in training.
So as of December 5th, check out this list, guys. We have Lavia still progressing with his reconditioning. Same thing with Nkunku. Chalobah also undergoing the same. Actually, no, he's in a different undergoing rehabilitation program. So he's not in a reconditioning phase. Ben Chilwell, same situation. Chukwuemeka undergoing the rehabilitation program. So he's not even close to being fit. Fofana, we already guessed. Malo Gusto, as of 2 weeks ago, to undergo his rehabilitation program. Maybe he is... maybe he's close to being ready. Just not progressing. He's continuing to undergo rehabilitation program. And Noni Madueke, who also got injured in training, is only just starting his rehabilitation program. And you guys can't see it because of the thing. I'll just get this out of the way. Leslie Oguchukwu also undergoing a rehabilitation program. So the only ones that are close to, as of this list, starting, which is progressing with the reconditioning phase, is Nkunku, Lavia. And according to seeing, what we saw in training, maybe Malagusa might be in that phase by now. So it's not good. I think there's even players missing on this list. I feel like there is.
I mean, Reece James will have to be added after the weekend.
Oh,
obviously.
Yeah.
And Sanchez, Cucurella.
Yeah. Is Cucurella hurt?
Yes, that's why he got subbed off.
That's why he came off, is because he rolled his ankle. Don't know the extent of the injury. Same with Sanchez. We don't know the extent of both injuries, but they both got injured.
Oh, so he wasn't yanked because of bad tactics. He was just hurt.
No.
Oh, shit.
Because the reported sub before he came off was Mudryk to come off and Matson's come on.
Yeah, this is not good. I mean, I don't know. This is the part where, like, I don't know who to blame. Is it Poch for maybe trying to overcondition these players? Or is it our medical team is just fucking trash?
No, it's not the medical team anymore, man. Like, for me, it's more Poch than anything else because there's previous. Like, none of us know for certain.
Sure.
Because we're not in the training session, so none of us can know for certain. But the only thing that I can go off is previous, and this has been a recurring issue he had at Tottenham. I think someone told me in his first season at Tottenham he got over 60 injuries.
Oh my god!
That team had at least 60 injuries. Obviously, there's the Dele Alli quotes. There's the Danny Rose quotes as well. So yeah, like for me, it's on him more than anything. Yeah, like.
But the thing is, so like,
I don't really know what else to say. Like,
I'm not opposed to having more rigorous training, considering last year we didn't have enough of it. And take it with a grain of salt, your opinions on Lampard or not. But when he came into the club as a caretaker manager, one of the first quotes he stated was that these players aren't fit, which I think most of us, again, taking preseason with a grain of salt, most of us in the beginning of preseason noticed that there was a complete difference in stamina and endurance and energy in these players versus under Potter last year. So I was inclined to say, hey, train these kids hard. They're going to get stronger. They won't get as injured as much. But now it's like, shit, like what kind of training are we undergoing with these guys? Like, why are they getting injured so often? And I know it happened last season and the season before. We've have a history of just not injury prone players, but just a history of injury riddled seasons. So maybe it's the volume of games that are being played nowadays versus what it used to be. Maybe it's the medical team is an incompetent medical team that we hired last season, and probably the same medical team this season. Or maybe it is Poch. I mean,
you can't blame the volume of games. We're down to one game a week. That doesn't apply to this season. Maybe last season I could hear it.
Right.
This season, absolutely not.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's absolutely right. I completely forgot about that aspect of it. No, he's not been sacked yet. I think all of us said it on this panel. I don't think he's going to get sacked. Yeah, unfortunately, I would say. But then again, like, even if you sack him now, it's a matter of like, who do you go for? I know everyone's inclined to say Hansi Flick, and we'll talk about this more in detail. Everyone's inclined to say Hansi Flick, but will Hansi Flick want this job? Is the other question too, because there's two aspects to this. It's not just who we can get, it's who would want this job. And I'm sure with enough money, you could probably get most managers, but believe it or not, some managers do have integrity and probably don't want the job. Maybe Nagelsmann was one of those people who turned away the job, considering, oh, yeah, you're not going to give me what I want. This isn't going to work. which there are some managers like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Hansi Flick was one of those managers. But before we get into the managerial talks, let's go ahead into the next topic, which is one of the uncomfortable conversations that we need to have in the Chelsea fan base. And we're here for it. This is why it's Casually FC. We try not to just give you the one-sided bubble talk. We try to give you as many perspectives as possible when it comes to these topics. And we try not to be biased, even though I know some of us are, including myself. Mostly myself. But let's talk about this Reece James topic, which everyone's talking about, rightfully so. A lot to talk about when it comes to Reece James. So let's start off with this first tweet that I have here from Nizar Kinsella. Reece James hopes to have minimized any damage by coming off as soon as he felt the problem. He is set to undergo scans on his injured hamstring. This was said shortly after the Everton game. Then we go on to big up the Blue Lounge. He did post this, and it gives us a little bit of an image, a visual of how often Reece James has not been available for Chelsea. Since, I believe, 2019, 2020, that was the season we won the Champions League. And then from then on...
No, season before.
Season before. Okay, so we won it in the 18-19 season.
No, 1920 was Lampard and 2020-21 was DCL.
Sorry, 1920 was Lampard first season when we finished fourth. So that was his first season at the club.
Okay.
2020-21 is when we won the Champions League.
Thank you. I always conflate the seasons. Thank you, guys. That's why we have a panel. So, yeah. So, from 21-22, after the Champions League, you can see how often this player has been injured, how often he's been unavailable. I'd be interested to see the comparison between him and N'Golo when it comes to the availability aspect. But I think there was also a stat out there, and you guys can maybe confirm, that apparently since the Champions League, he's only played, 17 90-minute games for Chelsea?
Something like that. I found out this season, he's only started 5 games this season. We're halfway through the season, pretty much.
Hasn't played a full 90 either, which is insane.
I don't believe so.
No, I think
he hasn't.
Did he not play the first game? I think he's played one full 90.
I've definitely heard someone else say
he came off with injury, remember?
No, I don't think it was injury. I think he just came off.
I thought he came off in the second game.
No, he got injured in between the first and the second game.
I'm pretty sure he got hurt the first game against Liverpool. He came off injured.
He might have
in
done.
the second half. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
I don't remember.
Says he came.
Yeah, he hasn't completed a 90-minute performance this season.
Yeah,
the most amount of minutes he's completed this season was 77,
and that was probably the Man City game.
No, it was Tottenham.
Oh, okay, Tottenham. Yeah, it's not been looking good. So, but let's continue on. There's more info on Reece James' situation. So Mauricio Pochettino hoped his fitness regime would help Reece James cure his hamstring problems without surgical intervention, but James is now seeking external help. Chelsea medical staff will consult with him after his visit to the specialist. Going on, scan results have confirmed a hamstring injury for Reece James. He will now begin his rehabilitation program at Cobham. Oh boy. Breaking news, Reece James will be out for at least 3 months. Oh boy. Okay. This is just tough to hear and read out loud live. It sucks because this player is a very good player, but the injuries are really setting him back. Continuing on, Jacob Steinberg reporting, Reece James is facing the decision whether or not to have a surgery. If he does, his return date will be pushed back even further, but there is a feeling it will be better for the long term. And by the way, I will add this because I don't have a tweet. Apparently the rumor is that he is, and again, this frustrates me because the decision making on Reece, if this is on Reece's, solely on Reece to make the decision, is he's hesitant to get the surgery because he wants to try to make the Euros. We'll dive deeper. Let me just finish these tweets, but oh my God. Chelsea will discuss Reece James having surgery internally. Specialists are involved. Reece James will be out until February/March, and Chelsea will now discuss internally with specialists to find a solution to finally have him ready to perform consistently. Surgery should be or could be an option, according to Fabrizio. Reece James is facing a decision whether or not to have surgery. If he does, his return date will be pushed back, which we know. And then here we go. According this is a medical expert, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Surgeon.
orthopedic surgeon. According to him, hey guys, training orthopedic surgeon here. It's not as easy as people are making it sound that he has surgery and he'll return a new man like people who have surgeries to their ligaments, etc. Hamstring injuries are very complex due to their anatomy and are different types in most people. It is muscle tears for which you can't do much surgically and don't have a choice but wait and watch. If it is tendon injury, again, very difficult as you develop a lot of scar tissue, which is difficult to remove, especially in someone as muscular as Reece, and also very sciatic. Also, your sciatic nerve that makes your leg move, can easily be damaged as it may be stuck in scar tissue and leave him disabled for life. Holy shit. Surgery itself also doesn't guarantee this won't happen again. It's not like your usual ligaments reconstruction like ACL, in which you use a strong gaff to replace the torn ligament. In this, you mainly put some screws or anchors into the bone and reattach the tendon back on, which can again tear through. So it's a very challenging situation for Reece, which Ziad did allude to. It is much more complicated, and I didn't listen. When it comes to surgery and stuff, I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be, but if I'm using my logic, when it comes to ligament and ACL, yes, they give you a whole new, I don't know what to call it, but it's like they reconstruct it essentially, right? Hamstring is a very big muscle. It's essentially, it basically is half of your leg or half of your back leg, from, you know, midway through your thigh all the way like close to your calf. It's a big muscle. So, and it's composed of multiple ligaments as well. So I can't tell you the first idea of what kind of surgery is involved to fix that, if it even is doable. Because I know, like, and I'm sure you guys have had injuries before. There are some injuries that you just can't do anything for. Just don't move the muscle and it'll eventually heal itself. I'm sure you guys have had injuries where they tell you that. I know when I had a shoulder separation, I'm not gonna. Well, when I had a shoulder separation, they told me, "Hey,
it depends. Muscles don't just heal themselves. Like, they'll heal in terms of they'll get better, but they don't heal. Like, they get what this guy's talked about, scar tissue. Like, that's the thing, and that's where, to get rid of the scar tissue, you need to do things like sport, like massages, for example, where they like basically like need the what's it called, the what's it called, like the knot, basically. So where the scar tissue is, you basically get a knot sometimes, which is where like the blood is clotted and whatnot. That can be, you can alleviate that through sports massages,
massage,
and through like physiotherapy and stuff like that. That's how you heal. If you just let it heal by itself, because I've got the same thing. I did my hamstring, same as Reece and same as Kante, and I've never had it fixed. Like, I've never fully had it properly fixed, and so I can't run as fast as I used to. There are times when it will, like, even if I stretch, it will feel like it's about to go, because I haven't healed it properly.
Yeah, it's definitely a complex muscle. Also, I will say before we go on to this topic, 44 of you guys watching, be sure to smash the like buttons, because it does help out the channel tremendously. You guys killed it on the last stream. Let's try to kill it on this stream as well. I just snorted. I don't know how that happened, but hey, it is what it is.
Lovely.
But going back to what I said before, what frustrates me, and big up Ahmed, check out his channel in the description. But what frustrates me tremendously about this is, if your motive was to try to make it to the Euros, bro, you knew you had a hamstring injury prior to this season. And listen, I know it's not a guarantee that it'll go away with surgery, but you've already spent the whole season and the season prior to that trying to fix it naturally, per se, with experts, non-surgically, and it's not been successful. I'm sorry, guys, but if that was me, if I get re-injured after my first stint of trying to not do it the surgical way, I'm probably more inclined, especially if I'm a player of this caliber who has a career going forward, I'm probably more inclined to say, fuck it, let's do the surgery. Maybe it works. And if it does, bless it. You know, like,
Oh, Marshall,
we're
I'll tell you
good.
what though, this piece here from Matisse, this is actually really enlightening to me because I didn't know about
Also,
the.
Oliver, actually, before you go, I will say one more thing. And I'm sorry to interrupt you. Even if you don't go the surgical route, Reece, what makes you think that you're going to be fit enough to get into the Euros? Because Gareth Southgate is already concerned with your playing time, according to him. You know, take it with a grain of salt. What makes you think you're going to get into the Euro squad? And even if you do, what makes you think you're going to stay fit for the whole entire tournament? But go ahead, Oliver.
Yeah, so I was just mentioning this piece here that Matisse has posted. Like, this has actually really enlightened me to some of the risks, particularly the sciatic nerve, if that's how you pronounce it. If
Yes,
Reece James is at any risk, or if he's at significant risk of undergoing surgery and damaging that nerve, then I completely understand not taking surgery. It kind of depends on the risk assessment of it. Like, if the scar tissue or whatever the damage is near that area, then that's a big risk. I'd rather him not ruin the rest of his life just to go and get surgery.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, on to the Euros thing though. It's already over because he's going to come back in February/March. And isn't that around the time of the next international break? So he won't even have match fitness going into that period. And then before you know it, the season will be over and the Euros will have begun.
I mean, to be fair, though, Oliver, Gareth Southgate will probably call him up despite his match fitness.
But maybe he will. But the problem is he won't get. I need this player to understand the reality. Gareth Southgate does not rate him. He rates him more than Trent, but his guys are Walker and Trippier. That's always been clear. It's been clear for so many years. You know, even when these two have been coming through and playing.
Is that still clear?
I think it is personally. I mean, Trippier less so, but that's more because of the left back crisis that England have been having. Shaw and Chilwell both being injured. Southgate doesn't want to call out Malacia, so Trippier's had to do left back shifts. But it's quite clearly Kyle Walker is the number one starter if we're playing a back four.
Mm-hmm.
And in a back three, it would be Trippier.
Ahmed, what are your thoughts on all this with Reece and the situation going on? I'm sure you've seen the tweets yourself, so I'm sure you have your own opinion devised on it.
I'm gonna be the most. I think I'm gonna give the most realistic take on it, and that is that I feel like, in my opinion, and I've said this before, you need to be actively looking for a right back to compete with Malo Gusto now. I think for me again, you know, I read the gentleman's point of view, who's a doctor, about muscle tissue and everything like that. And if that's the case, then reality is we really can't do as much as, you know, maybe we believe we can do. And if that's the case, you then have to, you know, be as a club, you have to be a realist first. At the end of the day, you know, whether we like it or not, you know, we as a football club, we are an elite team. We need, yes, it's great that he is, what's it called? Yeah, a top player. Yes, it's a great that he's homegrown, he's from the club. We can at least, you know, maybe help him from both a psychological standpoint and kind of like maybe looking after him as he's one of our own. But from a sporting standpoint, we need to look at it from a realist point of view and be like, okay, you know, let's just give this guy as much as possible until all those scars maybe heal to as good as they can. Make sure that he's not playing until that completely happens, etc. But we cannot count on him, and we cannot count on that happening. As such, whether next summer we look for a right back now to compete with Malo Gusto for that number one spot to become that number two. And let's say, hypothetically speaking, Reece James comes back, I'd maybe next year to that full, you know, health, to that level where, you know, he was back to playing the way he used to play, to that level of fitness. You can always remove the one that was worse out of Gusto and whoever that other right back is. But that's just the reality of the situation.
Mm-hmm. I will post this up one more time just so you guys can really like visually see how unavailable Reece has been. I will say though, let's say he does go through with the surgery. I mean, are you guys willing to be patient enough to see the results of the surgery and to see if he manages to, you know, get back to somewhat close to the levels he was at, you know, when we, you know, were competing in the Champions League, when we won it that year? Would you guys be willing to be patient with him to see?
Again, Marshall, I think for me, we can do that, but as a football club, you have to have another right back. Until we see that, you have to have like at least a counter measure. You know what I mean? That such that if Gusto gets injured, you got another as good, if not a better right back that can be playing for you. And you got Reece James. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe he won't come back. But of course, we'll wait for him at the end of the day, right? But I just think you have to. At the end of the day, also, what's it called? Options open.
Ahmed, you still are willing to progress with looking for another right back to
again
essentially replace him.
Yeah, but I've said right now, we need to replace him in the short term. We'll let him do whatever he needs to do. I think we do whatever he needs to do at the end of the day. We let him do that. We let him. We tell him take our time, but at the same time, as a football club, we have to be honest and say to him, "This will be your last chance to do." I'll be real. Like we need to, at some level, also be honest with him and say, "We are going to give you one more time. We're going to give you this last chance. Get back to full health. Get ready." You know what I mean? Make sure everything goes smoothly. Whether you take the surgical or the non-surgical, right? Again, that's what I'm saying. Surgical or non-surgical, we will give him the maximum amount of time for those scar tissues to heal as best as they can. And then once they heal as best as they can, and he's back to whatever level is, we can let him start playing. And if he starts playing and doesn't get injured and starts playing back to his quality, that's fine. We can keep him, and then that means one of Gusto and whoever I've said that's coming can leave the club. However, if he does get injured again post that, then we need to be as honest as we can be and say, "We're sorry, Reece, but it's time for you to move on." That's all we have to be. That's what we'd have to say. But at least then you have another right back there that is as good as what's it called? As good as him, and you've got Gusto there, who may be as good as him at that point, who's at that level.
I just got a tweet I want to show you guys that I found. According to Simon Phillips, who's talking. You guys see this? Yes, you do. Okay. According to Simon Phillips, quoting Matt Law, there has been a constant desire from both Chelsea and Reece James to try and avoid having surgery. If they get any advice for surgery now, they will take it this time.
Yeah. Good. I understand why as well they didn't take the surgery to begin with. It makes sense. What I will say is on Ahmed's point, I agree to an extent, but I wouldn't actually permanently sign anyone. What I'd probably do is, because I'm willing to give Reece the not the benefit of the doubt, but the chance to come back with the surgery. Because I did to an extent do the same thing with Kante. My issue with Kante never came down to him as a player, especially when he came back, because he was quality. It was more of the fact of the wages he was on at the time. Whereas Reece, it's not as big an issue. I'm willing to give him the chance. If he gets surgery, I'm more than happy to give him time. And that's why what I do in January is I try and sign a guy on loan. See if you can get a right back in on loan to be the backup. And then you're in a position where at the end of the season, you can assess what Reece has done, where he's at, and then go from there. If you decide that, okay, the surgery hasn't worked, or he's come back, but it's not working, you can move him on, sign that guy you brought in on loan permanently, or you can go and look at another guy. But if you decide that, okay, Reece has come back and he's fine, you can just send that guy you signed on loan back. There's no obligation there to bring him in permanently. And I think you can maybe use that loan signing as a guy who maybe has a bit more experience. If you can go out and sign someone who has a bit of experience, then you kind of mitigate or help the argument that people have of, we don't have enough experience in the squad. Or if you go and get someone, say you go and sign, I'm not saying we could get him, but someone of a Trippier level kind of guy who can be a leader in the locker room, off the pitch as well, doesn't have to play all the time. And he can be there to help Gusto progress as well, but is not to the level Aspi was in terms of ability. Kind of what Aspi was, but not but better, if you see my point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did want to push back a little bit, though. You mentioned with comparing N'Golo Kante's availability versus Reece, and you brought up the wages. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but Reece is also on high wages.
I'm not concerned, though, because he's on an incentivized contract.
That's true. The reason I mentioned the wages is because it was a new contract, and the thing with Kante was he wasn't going to lower his wages. That's basically my thing I had when I was mentioning Kante, is because I would have kept Kante as a squad player if he was willing to take a 1-year deal where it's basically pay as you play, and it was on a lot lower wages than he was on, which I don't think he was willing to do. So that was the main thing. And yeah, as I said, and as Oliver said, with Reece, a lot of his wages are incentivized. So if he doesn't play, then he doesn't get it, and he doesn't get the full amount anyway. So
fair enough. I mean, Oliver, did you want to add anything? I know you didn't get much of a chance to speak on the topic, but by all means, if you want to add anything, go ahead.
No, not really. I mean, like I said earlier, I think that whole piece that Matisse posted just kind of opened my eyes to some of the risks of the surgery. But yeah, I'd say I'm more leaning to where Scott is. Like, if we do get the surgery done, then that kind of buys him time for me personally. But then on the other hand, where Ahmed's right, if he's, I'd be willing to move on if he is just refusing surgery for no reasonable if there's a low risk.
Oh, I'm not. By the way, I'm not saying I don't care if it's surgery or non-surgery. I'm saying to him though, this is last chance saloon, and I am bringing myself as a football club. You have to protect yourself too. You know what I'm saying to you? The fact is, if I can't rely on someone, I have to have someone at least there for me in that short-term period he's getting healed to compete with Gusto.
That's definitely fair, yeah.
Yeah, because you have to protect yourself, innit? Listen, this is not me, obviously, being a dickhead to what's it called, Reece James. I'm just trying to look at it from a cold, a bit more of a harsh, pragmatic, angle, if that makes sense. Let's say on the squad building with the manager. I can't rely on this guy, but I need to bring in another piece for that area. That's what it was. And the thing for me was, I know people have talked about Kante, Scott has talked about Kante. The thing was, Kante started breaking down when he was 31 years old. That made sense, innit? You know what I'm saying to you? When he started breaking down, I was like, okay, we can at least say the age has caught up to him. You know what I mean? The age has caught up to him finally. So
yeah, no, it's a fair argument, but I think to conclude on this, for me, I just want, something I said a few weeks ago, or maybe even a month ago, I can't remember the time frame, probably around when James was returning. I was just saying, in regards to him and his recoveries from these injuries, I just hope, for his own mental health, because he's documented on Instagram and whatnot, how badly it affects him mentally. I just hope that he is doing all he can to rid himself of these injuries, and I hope he's not standing in his own way, because that would be a damn shame.
Oh yeah, for sure. I 100% agree. But I will also mention, because there was that point that was made about, depending on where the buildup of scar tissue is, you could essentially, there is the sciatic nerve, which could render him immobile.
Yeah, that is true. But this is what I was saying earlier, though. If there is a reasonable and significant risk to him and his mobility by having this surgery and him potentially being partially disabled for the rest of his life, then I completely understand. But if there is minimal to no reasonable risk, then that's kind of where I'm starting to worry a bit. Personally.
No, and I get that. My point in bringing that back up was that we're not in early 80s anymore. We have enough technology to be able to see the muscle without having to open up the body. So, and we can identify scar tissue without doing so. So I'm sure Chelsea are doing every single type of analysis, every single type of scan, seeing all types of experts to see okay, is this close enough to the sciatic nerve where this is going to be a risky operation? And again, we saw the tweet. They're going to see an expert, and if the expert says or recommends surgery, then they're going to go through with it. That's where I'm going at with this. If the expert says, okay, let's do this, I'm assuming they're going to do it because there's not as much of a risk for this happening. I think that expert that Matisse, quoted in that post that we saw is a hypothetical. This is something that could happen. This could be a reason why. He's not the one seeing Reece James. He's not the one doing the tests and analysis. If the doctor's seeing the test and analysis is seeing okay, there is scar tissue buildup here from reoccurring injury, but it is a safe surgery. He's not close to sciatic nerve. It's not high risk. We can go ahead and approve the surgery and get it done. And if Reece has known that for a while, because this isn't his first time in a rodeo. He has seen experts already. If he's known this for a while, then I'm not really taking the excuse of like, dude, you knew you had a low risk surgery you could have done to get you ready for the Euros like you wanted to and get you prepared for the season. You know, we look at Badiashile, who has not played that much, but he's played more than Reece since his comeback and has not gotten re-injured. So I look at it that way. If you guys want to add anything, by all means, go ahead. But I'm ready to move on to the next topic. Anyone 2 cents on what I just said, or we're good?
I've got a list of right backs that obviously we can look into.
I mean, by all means, if you want to state them right now, go ahead.
No. It's be disrespectful to read that straight after this, but
But
but like for me,
I mean, you started off with like, "Hey, man, let's go ahead and look out for a new right back."
It is though, but like I think for me though, I said at the beginning of the Everton game that I feel like this time at Chelsea is done, and I still believe that, to be honest, sadly, because like sometimes when it becomes so reoccurring, I'm not even sure if surgery can even solve it, man. If it's that reoccurring, how much likely is it that really surgery is going to even be able to truly resolve that issue?
The thing is, and this is the part where I have like my doubts, is it is one of those, like, it's not a guarantee fix, but what happens, we might as well try all measures. I'm one of the type of guys that, like, I won't give up on something unless I've tried all measures. And if this is something like, okay, I've tried this, I tried A, B, C, I've tried mushrooms, I've tried, Reiki, I've tried, sound bath, whatever the fuck, okay? I've tried all this shit, I've tried meditation, and none of it's working. Then, my guy, come on, we got to try the surgery. And it could be a personal thing where, like, he doesn't like going under the needle, all this and that. Like, he is in a tough position, I get it, but if you really truly want to fix this and the current path that you're on hasn't been giving you the results that you want, you're going to have to try something different. I'm sure he's talking amongst his family, his peers and professionals. He's going to come to a decision. I hope it's the one that helps him the most. And I hope he does recover. And I hope he, like Oliver said, from a mental standpoint, I hope he can stay healthy. But let's go on to the next topic, which we had here some topics on some outgoings that I wanted to bring up. So let's go ahead and start off with the first one I have here, which is about Chalobah, Madueke, Armando Broja, Cucurella, Disasi, Ian Maatsen, and Malo Gusto, according to Fraser Fletcher, who is quite a reliable source, are among those who are considered as available options to be sold and replaced with better quality over the next 2 transfer windows. Find it to be shocking. If the right offer came in for Nani Madueke, then Chelsea could be open to allowing him to depart on loan to get some regular game time. But he is not pushing for a permanent exit, as some reports suggest, according to Ben Jacobs. And I believe that's all I have in regards to... actually, no, I have one more in regards to transfer. Ian Maatsen is now more open to leaving Chelsea than he was in the summer, and the Blues are actively looking to sell him next month, according to Bobby Vincent. So we have Madueke. We're looking for a loan for him, apparently, according to Ben Jacobs. He wants to stay at the club, but obviously he wants game time. And then we have Ian Maatsen, who we already knew we're going to sell. And then there's a list of players that could potentially go, including Malo Gusto, Disasi, and Broja, which I find to be shocking, especially Malo Gusto, considering the performances he's given us this season and how considerably good he is in his position, and considering we don't really have a right back.
Yeah, I think that's where the report just completely loses credibility. I think
no one actually believes that, do they?
Disasi and Gusto was I laughed.
I was gonna say, you're talking about our only right back currently, like our legit only right back.
Who reported that? Fraser Fletcher.
You're also talking about Gusto, who in every game he's played has performed. Like literally every game he's played in, he's played well. Even the Villa game, he was playing well up until he got sent off. You're talking about Disasi, who's been arguably our most consistent centre back the whole season.
Most experienced as well.
All the others make sense, but we've been trying to sell Chalobah the whole season, and he's going to leave probably while injured because I don't know when the fuck he's coming back fit. Madueke we knew, Maatsen we knew, and I just want him to go to get game time at this point. Poch is treating him like a dickhead. Kukurea, that apparently they were looking to sell him in the summer, and based on the way the whole left back situation is, like that's a mess. And then Brozier again, that's been reported a couple of times as well. But that one's a little bit up in the air as well, I'd say.
How do you feel about the Brozier one, Scott?
Makes sense.
Does it?
It does kind of make sense, but it does kind of make sense. But at the same time, I still feel bad for him because, like, you can tell, like he's got a similar issue. I think he's better than the player I'm about to mention, but he's got a similar thing with like Mudryk, where like you can tell the raw like attributes are there. He just needs a manager who can get that, like who can refine those, like and smooth those edges. And he's got Poch, and that's the thing. And it's like I think he's a good player, and I think he will turn into a very good striker, but he's not getting the game time that he could do with. When he is getting the game time, like the game against Everton, he wasn't very good, but most of why he wasn't very good is because he was completely isolated the whole game. I just feel bad for him. I feel bad for a lot of these players that are in this team, and not because of like for anything they've done, because the situation either the club or the manager has put them in.
I think with Brozier as well, there's always the homegrown aspect where he's straight profit. You've got to consider that.
Pure profit. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, last season he was meant to be going to West Ham, bro, by all indications, and they still want to strike anyway. So
that's the thing. He'd be playing at West Ham right now.
Yeah. So there's that Kukurea. I mean, I don't know why he's not left the club out at all. You know what I'm saying? He should really have been gone in the summer, to be honest. Disasi and Gusto, you know, that's not it. We know Chalobah, he's bound for Bayern Munich, man. I'm telling you right now, he's Bayern Munich bound. Like their defenders are actually,
I don't think so.
Their defenders are just shite, man. Their defenders are shite. There's no other way to put it. Madueke, me and Maatsen are victims of Pochettino. That's it, man. That's it.
Yep.
You know what though, Ahmed? I'll say that now. Took time, but I think you were right about Madueke, man. I think I'll say it right now. Say with chest. I think Ahmed called the Madueke situation.
If I speak, I'm in big trouble. So no, I'm just kidding. But I like, no. I'll be honest. Though, Marshall. Yeah. But like I told you, like if for me, if someone has not liked you previously, it is very rarely the case here that is going to like you on your football style again. Even yes, if you may have improved, you may have changed. Juan Mata was a perfect example of that at Chelsea. You saw what happened.
No, true.
But Matt is actually an example of like. Even Matt is an example of like how it did change, because even after he went to United and Mourinho went to United, he used him a lot more. Like he still used him at United, like maybe not as much as he should have done, or in the position he should have played.
Yeah,
but he still used him, and this is where nothing where like you said with Poch, it's like, it's just like the fact that you think this guy.
Anything it shows Poch's levels, though, right?
I say it shows more not immaturity, but like. I don't know what the right word is, but I just find it like
stubbornness. He's very stubborn.
Like the fact that you haven't given this guy a chance, like him and Maatsen, you haven't given a chance, like at all. And I don't know. And if you were never going to give them a chance, why in the fuck, with Maatsen in particular, did you use him in pre-season? Why are they still at the club now? Like, what was the point?
No, you know what it is, bro. I've said this before. I think Poch is very stubborn. He didn't believe in him then. I don't think he's humble enough to say right now, oh, you know what, I can believe in you again. That's what it is for me, man.
But what's the argument for Maatsen?
I agree, but then that's my point, Ahmed, is like, if that was the case, why are they here now? They should have left in the summer.
I don't know why. I don't know why Madueke is here. For Maatsen, and I said this before. Jez was telling me because he's not really tall enough or something like that, and he's not got the build. That's why he's not playing Maatsen at left back either.
It's fucking tight nonsense bullshit again.
That's why apparently he didn't like Trippier as much as when Walker left. So it explains a lot. But at the end of the day, man, for me,
hang on.
I feel. Huh? What?
Huh? Wait a second. Give me a second.
Yeah, 1 second. So going back to it, yeah, I think again.
Keyshawn's got a point.
Yeah, but the thing, Keyshawn's right. But the thing was, at least he still played him. He actually played him.
Yeah, like that.
Hang on. No. Can I ask a question on it? That thing you just said about Trippier, do you is that something you've heard?
Yeah, I heard that from Jez. Yeah,
they're the same height.
I don't know, bro. He probably didn't like
maybe
him.
Trippier hunches more. I don't know.
There was something he didn't like about Trippier's physicality compared to whoever he. I think it was Walker he plays, if I'm not mistaken.
This manager, man, bro. We should have seen, bro. All these red flags we should have seen, man. Like all of these red flags.
But going back to obviously you spoke about Matson and Madueke. I just think this is the problem, bro. And the reality situation is even if we are to bring a new manager post Poch, I don't know, man. Is he gonna rate Mudryk? I don't think so. I'll be real with you guys. Like Sterling, is he gonna rate him? Maybe not. I'm saying to you.
I agree.
I feel like there's a lot of players where you can make the argument for they'll be probably rated, whether it be Caicedo and Enzo, a Palmer. I would even make the argument maybe someone like a Jackson could probably be made the argument for another manager to like, but maybe what he does is he brings another striker but allows him to actually develop. I can say that. Like the fullbacks, Gusto can play wing back or fullback. He's talented as well. So there's something there that you can unlock as a manager. Bad issue we know about. Disasi we know. I would agree with. Who's the other centre back they've got after those? Levi Colwell. So again, but the thing is, the attacking options though are probably going to be changed. I'll be real with you.
I think what going off of what Keyshawn said about Pulisic, I think the good thing about Tuchel is when push came to shove and he expensed his resources and his options, he would go to Pulisic and be like, "Listen, you're my last option. Let's see what we can do."
Was it even that, bro? I think the thing with Tuchel was
I think it was though because there was a lot of injuries during the Tuchel era.
No. I'm not even talking about that. I think with Tuchel, he always used to do the player which would work tactically the best for whoever he was playing against. That's what he would usually play. And that's what we saw with Pulisic. When Pulisic play, I would actually say that. Because even when we had injuries in certain positions,
DS for example,
or a Ruben Loftus-Cheek who changed into right wing back too. So
I don't know if I agree with that. Yes, to a certain extent, but I feel like sometimes because of the injuries he had, because he had so many injury-riddled, he had 2 injury-riddled seasons. Sometimes he was just forced to play Pulisic, and sometimes he was just forced to play Ziyech. And so that's just how the cookie crumbled. You
got to remember as well. It's not even like it was just the injuries though, because remember Pulisic started the Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid. Yeah. And I don't remember Havertz being injured at that time. So
but also
Mount was available too. Mount was available at that time too.
Yeah, Mount started with him. I left him out because of that.
No, I'm telling Marshall because just to.
Yeah, I remember. But also when he first came in that season, he had worked with Pulisic for a short amount of time because Pulisic was at Dortmund for that small stint where Tuchel was there, and then left. So I mean, Tuchel coming into the club probably played Pulisic because he trusted him. He already knew what kind of player he was, still figuring out the players, even though you're late into the season, into the Champions League now. So there is that argument as well. The later seasons, we saw what happened. Never really played him that often, so on and so forth. I think it could be a situation like that. Well, it's not a situation like that, I should say. Here at Chelsea with Poch, it feels like what you're saying, where he's stubborn. Doesn't want to try this guy, doesn't trust him. I have my players. I almost rather play other players out of position than play you in that position, which we're seeing with Levi Colwell. This guy wants to play Levi Colwell ahead of Cucurella, who is a left back, or ahead of Ian Maatsen, who at Burnley played as left back, which doesn't make sense.
He doesn't even rate Cucurella in a bad way, guys. This guy does not rate Cucurella.
I know.
So you are playing a guy you don't rate over Ian Maatsen. That is, for me, makes it even worse to an extent. By the way, it makes it even worse.
It's
The
baffling.
thing
'cause
is,
he
Ahmed,
played
you know what the
so
thing
much in
is? I don't
preseason.
even know if it's fully that he doesn't rate Kukurea. It's just all he wants is height in that back line, which hasn't made a difference because we're still garbage at set piece. Like, this height thing is just a bunch of nonsense, man. Like, it's
That's so funny because he had Colwell in at left back.
In that left back, what, Oliver?
Yep. Oh, do you remember the United game when Cole was at left back and McTominay donked him on the back post? So what's height doing for you?
But like, I'm going to go back and look at some of the dudes he had at Tottenham, because this is the thing. I don't remember him doing this at Tottenham. Like, if I look at Danny Rose, hang on, let me go and get Danny Rose up. He's 5'8", so he's like 1 inch taller than Matson, I think. Obviously, I looked earlier. Kyle Walker and Trippier were both 5'10". Forget the centre backs because they're meant to be tall. You look at where's Moussa Dembele. Moussa Dembele was 6'1", fair enough.
And he played Eric Dyer in the midfield as well, so he was tall as well.
He was also a centre back. They got converted there. Wanyama was 6'2", fair enough. Where's Ericsson? Ericsson is 5'11". Dele Alli was 6'2", but I would not say he was physical in any way. Like this obsession with height, man. It's like a bunch of nonsense.
It's just it's just an excuse because, like, look, our set piece record has been abysmal this season, and that thing is
Davies is 5'11", by the way.
Our set piece record this season just so happens to coincide that we are, on average, the second shortest team in the Premier League. The only team shorter on average is Brighton, but correlation doesn't equal causation. This isn't the cause and effect.
Yeah, and I will also mention, like, height-wise, I feel like that Everton game, we did well not to concede off of set pieces via height with Badiashile and Disasi in our center back pairing, but we still conceded in the ground game. So it's like,
because you've got no marks on the edge of the box.
It's almost like it's either or at this point. So I don't even know if the height argument's really even worth bringing up.
At this point, man, I couldn't care less. I just want him out of the club, man. You know what I'm saying? Just get
100%. Also, do you know why the height thing doesn't run? Because this man plays our smallest centre back every week.
I was going to say.
Thiago Silva.
He's the smallest centre back in the team, and he's
6 foot, I think,
every week.
Is he 6 foot? I feel like he's shorter than that.
He's 6 foot. He's the smallest centre back we have.
Instead of Chukwuchukwu Santos.
It's nonsense to it. Like, obviously, height matters for certain things. Centre backs, for example, although that doesn't always matter. Fabio Cannavaro, for example. Franz Beckenbauer, another one. It obviously isn't completely nonsense, but when you're playing centre backs at fullback because of height, quote unquote, and all of that nonsense and things like that, that's where for me it's nonsense. Like, you can obviously have height for certain things. I said centre back. You can have a tall dude in midfield. I do actually think that is part of the reason why he kept Ugochukwu. But it's now funny that he wants a midfielder after keeping Ugochukwu because of A, height, and B, because he thought he was good enough to contribute. And now he wants another midfielder after we've already given him 3.
I said this on Ahmed's stream as well. He wanted Ugarte, didn't he? He's 5'10", 5'11".
Getting cooked.
It makes no sense.
Getting cooked in League 1 too.
Yeah, it's just stupidness, man.
He doesn't know what he wants, man. He doesn't know what he wants, boys. He doesn't know what he wants.
Well,
give him Scott McTominay. That will do.
Yeah,
one thing that I've been told he wants, and this is now being used as a argument to show that Poch is a yes man, which, if you were here last stream, I don't disagree with having a yes man manager to a certain extent, because if Tuchel wasn't a yes man and we succumbed to Tuchel signings, we would probably have a pretty shit team because his talent ID wasn't great.
No, we did succumb to Tuchel signings.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, Aubameyang was one of them. Sterling was another one. Saul wasn't his signing.
Yes, it was.
He
had a say in
choosing.
He had a say in choosing Saul over Tchouaméni.
Yeah.
This is why I, to a certain extent, don't want a yes man.
No, but this is why. No,
rather
but
have
this
a
is
yes
why.
man, rather. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's not even that, Marshall. Most managers' talent ID is dog shit. It's awful. It's woefully bad.
Yes.
Look at Ten Hag's talent ID. Terrible.
Mhm.
Look at Poch's. Garbage. Even Tuchel's. Garbage. Because most managers, that's not their job. Like, and they should not be. Like,
They don't
this is
have
the
the
thing.
time.
Outside
Yeah,
of,
exactly. It's not their
outside of
job.
Pep, genuinely, outside of Pep, I can't think of another manager with good talent ID. Ange has decent talent ID from what I've seen. But a lot of the signings I've seen of his outside of Tottenham, especially when he was at Celtic, was a lot of like kind of players he knew or worked with, kind of similar to Ten Hag, but a lot better in terms of he picked actually good players at Celtic in terms of Japanese players he'd worked with, and it was kind of like he had an idea of who to get. So his talent ID, from what I've seen, is decent. Outside of those two, like I can't tell you another manager who has good talent ID because again, it's not their job. And that's the thing. The manager is meant to give you a profile of player they want, and it's the sporting director's job to then go and find them players that that fit that profile of player.
100%, and that's exactly what I was alluding to. Is that, and you nailed it on the head. It's not their job. These scouts, their job is to literally sit and watch football and go visit games and look at these youth or these potential targets and watch them play and see if they are suited for the style of play that the manager is asking for. I want Poch to say, like, listen, I want a striker who is robust. I want a striker with some height who can be a target man. And then the scout's job is to go and see that out. I don't think that's being a yes man. I think that's working synergistically. But I want the scout to go and do that job. If it was up to Poch, we would probably have Lautaro Martinez, and I'd be shooting myself in the fucking dick. But going on,
give it to him. Give him Lautaro. Give him Lautaro. Like, do it.
Lautaro is Lautaro's the same height as me, 5'10".
Ahmed, it don't make no sense. Ahmed, 100%, it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. But bro, I'm on this thing now. Give him everything he wants, because when he fails, and it's a when, not an if, I'll be here to laugh.
No, please. But on that topic, which is where I was alluding to, was Gallagher. Everyone's saying, oh, he wants Gallagher. Now the ownership or the club wants to sell Gallagher. So he's a yes man and all this. Listen, let's go over the tweets and then we'll discuss Gallagher. Exclusive. Chelsea are prepared to consider offers for Conor Gallagher when the transfer window opens next month, according to Matt Hughes. The next tweet right here is Conor Gallagher is understood to be reluctant to sign a long-term contract of up to 8 years, which Chelsea are insisting on. Tottenham would again be interested if Gallagher was unavailable. I emphasize, I understand Gallagher has been a big improvement this season when it comes to his standard, which his standard was pretty much
in the bin.
Pretty low. It was in the bin. It was lower than Mason Mount. And yes, when you see yourself go from here to here, it's impressive. Whereas someone like an Enzo is here, and to see him improve this much isn't nearly as jarring. So Gallagher, yeah, people are going to fucking simp and glaze over Gallagher. I get it. And listen, I have been here touting multiple times that Gallagher has improved drastically in this team. And now that and prior to the recent run of bad form, Gallagher is an important player in this team. Now that we've seen him play in recent games, I'm now back to the, okay, you know what? If Gallagher were to get sold, I'm not that upset. I hope we just get a good fee. But Scott, you wanted to say something and I cut you off.
Did I? I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, he's still dog shit. Get rid of him. He's the only dude that's improved. But it's one thing I was going to say. It's the only player on the team that's improved under Poch.
Him and I would say Sterling has been more, maybe not improved, but he's definitely been more impactful than last season.
Sterling became a D&D dice this season. Last season, he was just out injured all the time, bro. You know what I'm saying?
But no, for me, Sterling hasn't improved. Sterling's showing the levels I expected of him.
Yeah.
He's not improved as a player. He's improved on his form on last season. Even last season, though, he was still a top goal scorer in all comps.
Yeah.
The only dude he's improved to a level that I've said this before. The only dude he's improved to a level I have not seen before is Gallagher. Maybe Mudryk you could argue, but I would say the Mudryk one is debatable, and even then I wouldn't say he's improved to a level that is good enough.
I mean, in your situation, you can't even argue Cucurella because we're seeing
No, I've seen him play better. He was the best.
Exactly.
There was a point he was the best left back in the league. So like, I haven't seen him improve him.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. Like, if Gallagher were to go, then I mean, does that make Poch a yes man? Are we even that upset if Gallagher were to go? Like, I don't understand this argument the Chelsea fan base are making about
the reality of the situation is this: we've missed out on European qualification money this season because we finished 12th last season.
Sure.
They need to make money, and to be honest, with the way we saw it tonight and yesterday, Manchester United and Newcastle out of the Champions League, they're out of Europe altogether. The coefficient is going to plummet. Bro, 7th won't even get us Conference League at this point. So, no, sorry, 8th won't. So we need to make money, and also just from the squad point of view, we need to sell. We need someone to make way because we have enough midfielders. If we add on top of what we have already without deducting one, it's going to be too bloated, and we're going to get into a Graham Potter situation last season where
And that's the biggest thing about this when it comes to the yes man conversation, because it doesn't make Poch a yes man. It actually makes him sensible. Because if he wants to keep Gallagher and us to sign another midfielder, the fuck is everyone playing? The fuck is who is dropping out? Enzo, cool. Then what was the point? Like, if Enzo drops out, what was the point? If Caicedo drops out, what's the point? If Lavia drops out, what's the point? Like, what was the point?
I think it's just simply he's got to come to a compromise because
that's the thing. Gallagher is the only dude you can sell. Even Carney, right? Even if you sold Carney, he would be at best third choice number 10. If you want to say he's below Gallagher, cool. So then you get another guy in who's going to be another midfielder. Let's say you get a 10 in, cool. So is he going to be third choice number 10 or is he going to go into number 2? Because if he goes into number 2, that makes Gallagher third choice number 10. So he's now in the Carney position. So you got a player who basically is going to play no minutes this season. You'd hope when everyone's fit is going to play no minutes full stop, unless you need to rotate. So that's £50 million worth of a midfielder that's chilling on a bench for nothing.
Yeah.
Guys, yeah. He wants Gallagher, guys. He wants Gallagher, but the club.
Oh, I know, bro. Like,
we've known this.
I've realised after the comments that we saw today, by the way, from in the Sarcasm City group chat, because I forgot he done that with Verratti at PSG. Like, I'm under no illusion, by the way, that when Nkunku comes back and when Lavia comes back, Gallagher's still starting. Yeah, Lavia will be on the bench, or Enzo will be dropped. No, I'm being like, bro. I guarantee you that when everyone's fit, Gallagher still starts, and it's probably Enzo that's dropped for Lavia, and Nkunku will be on the left wing.
Yeah, man. But like, listen, we need to.
And when that happens, I'll just laugh and say, "Watch it."
Nkunku playing left wing, man. Nkunku's playing left wing. Sterling's playing right wing. Watch, and then the striker's going to be Jackson if he still is there.
You know what I'm scared of, guys?
And 1 second,
I'm scared. You can go. Yeah.
And listen, man. You know, This is what Poch sees in Gallagher. You know, my listen, God of Frogs and me, he won't lie when he sees Gallagher as the key to the squad. And the reality of the situation is, we know the club, are having now FFP issues. They have FFP issues. So they need to sell the best guy they can sell, which obviously Chalobah is going to probably bring, what, £20 million. Gallagher is going to give you...
Oh, you can get more than 20 million for Chalobah.
Huh?
You can get more than 20 for Chalobah. You could easily get 40.
No, but... I mean, if we're being honest though, like a realistic number, maybe 30. Then I'll say, well, me in the middle.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like him, he's gonna give you at least 50 million pounds roughly. I'll say 45 to 50 can get for Gallagher at this point, and that's his going rate right now. And you know, you got Enzo, you got Caicedo, and yet you want to play fucking Conor Gallagher, bro. Respectfully, you know what I mean? John Owen Mikel, a guy that knows, that has played in all time in midfield. He said Gallagher's a bench player. What we've been saying on this whole thing is that he's a bench player. Listen, he's one of the most notorious, well-known bench players too. So he would know that if he's a bench player or not.
I didn't think of that.
You know what I'm saying to you? It takes one bench player to know another bench player. You know what I'm saying to you? It's just for me, man. I'm so tired, man. I'm tired of seeing Gallardino, seeing Gallagher, you know what I mean? You know, all these nonsenses. And it's not even working, bro. It's not even working. We need to move on, man. Please.
The irony of this whole thing, Ahmed,
Just the chat with the midfield period. I don't want us to buy midfield in January.
Hey, listen, Scott. Yeah, I've always been honest with my takes in Gallagher. I always said that he could be a bench player. I always said that.
No. Don't. I remember. Have you still? Hang on. What's your Avi? Show me your picture.
Listen, it's a meme. It's a meme. You know what I mean? Listen.
What am I looking at?
That's why I would like again. Enough for your bench, but the reality situation is we don't need him right now, boys. We don't need him right now. And I'm seeing us linked to guys like Paulinho because he's big. Ooh, big guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we need a 6'4" guy now. Like we've made Caicedo into the new Kante under Sarri, where he was just playing out of position the whole time. Like, we need.
Do you know what? On the Paulinho thing, by the way, the Paulinho thing is like so annoying because this is a guy who's a quality player. Like he's an incredible player and would be a sick buy for us if we hadn't already bought Lavia and Caicedo.
That's what I was going to say. I would have actually taken Paulinho in the summer, but it makes no sense with the context of who we bought.
And that's what I'm saying. So you're either going to have a situation where you have to play like a diamond midfield, but then you just bought wingers. So who's playing? Or you have to drop one of the midfielders you just bought in like Caicedo or Enzo, which if you drop those guys to the bench, what was the fucking point?
I dare him to run Colwell left back with a diamond midfield. I dare him.
I want to see it now. I want to see that so bad.
I didn't get a chance to say this. I'm worried that in an attempt to try to fit in Gallagher into this team, he's going to play him right wing.
Oh, God.
Gallagher
also,
right wing?
Like, question in regards to this question. What makes you say this out of interest? Because I don't see why you need Gallagher anyway without the DM. Even without the DM, excuse me. So I'm just like, why do you think this out of interest?
I also think it's an availability thing, to be honest. Considering Leslie's injured, there's no one that can play midfield on that bench.
Bro, so what? When Leslie,
yeah, that's because you decided to fucking keep Leslie, man. Like,
wait. Listen, but when Leslie's back, are you gonna start saying that nonsense again?
I was gonna say he barely even plays when he's fit.
Yeah, he barely plays when he's fit.
What about Mr. Alex Matos? You know what I mean? Another guy that you brought in. Where is he?
He's played 2 minutes, I think, or something like that. 2 minutes this season.
Doesn't matter, but points. I don't know why.
And it's just bullshit, bro. It's just bullshit, man. That's all it is, man. We just need to say, you know what, man? Fuck off and listen, and do everything like that. You know, I'm seeing what's it called? Graham Potter might be the new United manager. Good luck to them.
You know what would really fucking suck though? You know what? We can't even laugh or banter that much because what happens if Potter gets that job and he ends up doing better than Poch?
I
mean, it'll probably happen. Like,
I'm just saying. Listen, I don't want that to happen. It's already been a humiliating and embarrassing season as it is, but at this point, I don't see. I can't look past anything that'll make things worse for us. I just can't look past it. But all right, let's go on to the next topic that I wanted to bring up, which was some disrespect towards Thiago Silva. Let's talk about this. This is interesting. I don't think it's that much to it, but journos. Okay, so according to Jacob Steinberg, breaking: Chelsea players are perplexed that Thiago Silva was not been made captain when James and Chilwell have been absent. There is a suggestion that Pochettino has shown disrespect to Silva, and that is a growing topic in the dressing room. Oh shit! Next tweet I have here is Pochettino has insisted there is no problem with Silva being overlooked, saying a player of Brazilian stature does not need the armband to be a leader. However, some of Silva's teammates cannot understand why their most experienced player is not leading the team out when the regular captain is absent. There is a talk of disrespect being shown towards Silva. I think this is a story being overblown. I think this is some players who are young not understanding why Silva doesn't want the captaincy per se, which he has been seen to deny the captaincy. But I think also what Poch is saying here is actually right. You don't necessarily need to have an armband to be a leader. But at the same time, though, I don't think you necessarily have to be an English speaking person, and that's the only qualification you should have to be given an armband either. I think that's a ridiculous catch-22 that Poch is almost insisting on here.
No, Brexit means Brexit means Brexit.
Oh, man, you know what I mean? Brexit means Brexit.
I think this is being overblown. I don't think there's any disrespect, but I understand how some of the younger players in the team could be like, why doesn't he want to be a captain?
If they're interpreting it like that, then they simply don't have eyes. Because wasn't it many a time last season Silva would hand off the captaincy to Enzo by his own, like on his own accord?
Last season, actually, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he'd hand off the captain. You know, because whenever Azpilicueta would come off or whatever, or whoever was the captain in any given game, you know, I think they first resort would be to give it to Silva, but then Silva would be like, no, give it to Enzo.
Mm-hmm.
Can I be honest, man? Who cares about Thiago Silva, man? Let's move him on, man. Get him out.
I care, man. That guy's my player, bro. I like him.
Get him out my club, man. Move on, man. We need to move on.
This guy. Respect Thiago Silva, bro. You're the one that wrote this article.
Listen, have some self-respect for yourself before you say that, man. You know what I mean?
I will say though, like, I think Thiago Silva understands that. At least this is my interpretation of it. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. I'm not going to be here next season. Why should I be captain? It should be someone that's going to be here for a lot longer than I am. I don't know if I'm going to be here next season. I don't know if I'm going to be here to the end of this season. So it kind of makes sense for him to not want to be the captain. Like, let it be someone who has a future at the club. His future is slowly diminishing. So,
I mean, maybe that's the case, but then why is it James and Chilwell that are the captains, then? Or the captain and vice captain who are never available? I'm not blaming that on Silva, by the way, but I'm just talking about the overall process of deciding who gets that armband and the hierarchy. If Silva's not going to be here next season and that's the reason, then why is it our two most injury-prone players ahead of him?
Poch was probably naive. I'll be honest. And you did see earlier, Poch said like, oh, he was hoping that his training regime would help Reece not get injured again, which we've seen. Yeah, exactly. We've seen not work at all. Yeah, I don't think I think take this with a pinch of salt, ladies and gents. I don't think there's any disrespect. If anything, I think Pochettino really respects Silva, but it's just one of these things that I think the journals are looking for something. I think right now is the time to get a reaction out of the fan base, and rightfully so.
Max, I'm just trolling, by the way, but somewhat trolling. Obviously, get out of my phone, that nonsense. Yeah. Now, obviously, of course, like Silva's a good player and everything, but I do think, we don't. Again, I always say that we should be phasing them out currently in it. So, you shouldn't even be playing, in my personal opinion, unless like we play maybe a big game or something as such. So.
I didn't mind our defense. Well, I mean, sort of. Take this with a grain of salt too. I didn't mind a defensive pairing of Disasi Badiashile last game.
Our defense was actually good last game. Like outside of Colwell, and outside of the goals, which I don't think outside of again. Even to be fair, even the first goal, I don't put too much blame on Colwell. Yes, he should close him down, but like we should stop that happening way before the goal. Like way before the goal actually happens, we should stop that. But I actually didn't think the defense was bad. I thought the defense was actually decent in the last game.
But yeah, let's go on to the next topic then. Speaking on, Poch as a manager and respect and all this and that. I did want to bring up the issues we had initially about discipline, which are more evident now than ever. Let's go ahead and start off with this first tweet from Matt Law. Mauricio Pochettino got involved himself. This is from December 3rd, by the way, so 10 days ago. Bear with me as I'm catching up with news. But Mauricio Pochettino got involved himself at the final whistle when both sets of players clashed and Brighton manager Roberto De Zerbi approached referee Craig Pawson and his officials. Adam Lallana, former Brighton goalkeeper Robert Sanchez, and Levi Colwell, who spent last season on loan at the Amex, were particularly worked up, according to Matt Law. Then on the next tweet, Pat Nevin I don't think Chelsea lacked discipline, which I can't disagree more. Chelsea have had a lot of yellow cards, mostly through Nicholas Jackson, but a lot of them are for dissent. Most players are being booked for putting a tackle in, and I don't have a problem with that. No Chelsea fan wants their team to be soft. There was a time when Chelsea were a soft team, and you cannot be that in this league. And then last tweet I have here, Mauricio Pochettino has cracked the whip at Chelsea, warning his sleepwalking stars that he won't tolerate unacceptable standards. He is incensed by the lack of commitment. He is incensed. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
I think I said that right. Yes. He is incensed. I've never heard that word used that way. He is incensed by the lack of commitment and desire on display during recent away defeats to United and Newcastle. Now he is commanding change, according to Ryan Taylor Sport, which I didn't see much of that change at Everton. But what are you dancing about, Ahmed? What's going on, man?
Yellow coffee, yellow coffee, yellow coffee, yellow coffee.
You need some real yellow cards, man.
No, it's a little joke. Like there was this guy. It's like the funny meme of that guy. What's it called? That was at a rave that had like a yellow card and a red card. And we got this. But I obviously can't do it, man. I don't know. Sit down to that side. But honestly, like I don't listen.
On the dissent thing, by the way, sorry, Ahmed, before you go, on the dissent thing, I saw something today actually where apparently this isn't just a Chelsea thing. Like the number of yellow cards, and was it just yellow cards, I think, or red cards as well? This season compared to other seasons is up by like 88% across the league.
Oh yeah, I could easily have seen that. I think I even said in the beginning of the season when I started seeing all these bookings coming out of nowhere just for talking to the ref, and it has to be the captain. I already knew the yellow card tally was going to go up this season, but I think my problem with it is though, like Jackson, for example, which he's Pat Nevin's probably right. Jackson's probably the one. Actually, he's definitely the one that has the most yellow cards for the team this season. He's probably carrying that weight, but it's for stupid shit.
I think he's only, by the way, you say that, by the way, Marshall. I'm fairly certain he has got the most yellow cards, but he's only like 2 ahead of the next person.
You got the likes of Sterling and Enzo that are one off.
I was going to say you got Sterling, Enzo, and Caicedo all on 4 in the league.
Okay.
I don't know about all comps, but I can check. But yeah, like he's actually not that far ahead of like he has the most. Also, some of them are stupid shit. One he got for like not. So the one he got his 5th yellow card for it, like in the league. I can't remember what game it was, but it was a game where he went in to like go and win a ball in the box, and as he was exiting the box, he wasn't exiting it quick enough, so the goalkeeper just put the ball down and booted it at the back of his head, and he got a yellow card for that.
Yeah, I thought that was dumb. But it's also one of those situations like it could have been avoided.
100%.
I think that was the Villa game.
You can't really learn from as much. Also, as well, some of the yellow cards he got, and I think this just comes with a new league, like a couple of the yellow cards were for like asking for yellow cards. So I know the one he got against West Ham, for example, he got fouled, then like did the imaginary yellow card thing and got yellow carded for it. Also, I was right, by the way. Cucurella is 2 behind him on 5. You've then got 4 players on 4.
Jesus.
Can I just be honest, man? It just comes down to, again, the manager, bro. You need to, 2 parts. The manager, of course, in the sense that he needs to be relaying the message and bang on the message about, we on the pitch, you must have control. We must have some level of anger control, whatever it may be, to make sure these players stop what they're doing, particularly the main culprits, for example. And secondly, it's also down to the players to, keep themselves in check. Control your emotions. If you can't control your emotions, seek a therapist, seek someone that's going to help you with anger management. It's really as simple as that. Bro, no, but like this is what. But if this is a continuous thing, or it's a continuing issue, speak to someone that's going to help you with anger management, whether it be a therapist, etc. Because I'm not a psychologist, so I won't go into that. Maybe it might just be something like that. But it's simple as that for me, really.
But
the one word I always use, self-control. You know what I mean? As any human being, no matter what situation it is, if you can self-control yourself and use your mind, you always make the right decisions. That's what these players need.
But here's the thing that frustrates me. This goes on the manager, right? If you're gonna try to teach discipline, one of the things that you must do as a manager is you must then show it on the pitch. Jackson, you keep having discipline issues. You keep getting yellow cards. you need to stop doing this. And if you're not going to make an effort to stop, which, listen, last game against Everton, this man was choking the chicken. You know what I mean? This man was out here putting his hands on people.
Whoa.
You know what I mean?
No, choking the chicken is something very, very different to you and I then.
Whoa.
Look, he was putting his hands on things he shouldn't have put his hands on during the game. That's all I'm trying to say.
You are moving actually mad. You need to chill out.
But my point.
I know it's midnight.
Point.
I know it's 1 a.m. in the UK. But like we don't do that around here. You know what I'm saying? We don't do that around here.
My point is saying that, like, okay, listen, if you're gonna persist on this, then I'm not gonna play you. You're gonna have to earn your game time. You're gonna have to sit the bench. But I think Poch is too much of a coward to do that. Just like he was too much of a coward to try Ian Maatsen at left back over a Kobo, who we've seen doesn't work. Just like he was too much of a coward for a long time to drop Chilwell from left wing and actually put a left winger there. So it's all, like you said, it's on the manager. That's how I would show discipline. Listen, I'm not going to accept this behavior. And if you're not going to do what I ask you to, if you're not going to make the changes, you're not going to play.
It's also on the manager to set an example. You know, he got suspended for yellow cards against Newcastle.
Yeah, that is true. I'm more lenient on that simply because I don't want Potter last season, where Potter had no fight, no bark.
You have to find a balance, though. Like what Pat Nevin said on his column about, we've seen a Chelsea that was too soft. Now we're seeing the complete other end of the spectrum. Top
Chelsea's
teams
too
can't
hard.
do that. You have to. Yeah, that's why I didn't say it, but.
Go on. I'm sorry.
No, it's a top team. You know, we're obviously trying to become a top team. You can't do that without the middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that needs to be worked on. It's definitely something that has been frustrating to see, considering that I think it's in tandem with the results. It's in tandem with the consistency issues that we have. Not having the discipline to just like, dude, I'm going to go all out in the game. I'm going to go all out in training or what, so on and so forth. Be a professional in this. I don't know. There's so many things that I'm only assuming because I'm not in the training. I'm not in the locker room. But this is what we do as fans. We assume and we make channels and we talk about it. So, okay. So the next topic I wanted to bring up was regarding the owners. So a lot of criticism around the owners, rightfully so. But let's go ahead and start off with the first few tweets I have in regards to this, and we can go into discussion, obviously. Let's start off with this first tweet from Mikos Goka about 9 days ago. So, revealed Todd Bowley picked Arne Slot up in a private jet. Did I spell his name wrong?
That's a Todd B. That's saying it's a joke, man. Chill out.
Oh, I thought you always correct me when I say a name wrong, so I thought I said the name wrong.
No.
So Arne Slot
yet, man.
up in a private jet for talks about managing Chelsea last summer. Slot decided to stay. Chelsea instead went for Mauricio Pochettino, which, if you guys remember, Arne Slot was in that short list that was initially proposed early in in March, I believe. April, around that time.
Avril.
April, okay. Thank you. Next tweet here from Matt Law. Todd Bowley and Baghdad Bali have never publicly explained why they sacked Thomas Tuchel, who had won the Champions League at Chelsea, why they gave up so quickly on Graham Potter. Okay. The youth first transfer policy, or what exactly is expected of Pochettino and his inexperienced team this season. We'll come back to Matt Law. But listen, I have Matt Law because it's Matt Law, not because I think it's reliable. But we'll come back to this. There has been a deafening silence over the plans for Stamford Bridge and the constantly changing personnel within the club. Jurassic has so far chosen not to explain some of his decisions, such as scrapping the bus subsidies for away fans that have enraged supporters. Next tweet from Matt Hughes. Todd Boehly has taken a step back from Chelsea, with his absence this season noted by players and staff. Bali has taken more of a hands-on role. And then the last tweet I had here from Matt Law again. Insiders have described 2023, the first full year of Todd Boehly Clear Lake Capital ownership, as being a disaster and cannot wait for it to end. Okay. Here's the thing with Matt Law. As you guys probably already know, I'm not a fan of this guy. Sure, there's truth in what he's saying, but he has this tendency to overblow things and make it look a lot worse than it is. Him saying the season's been a disaster, it's probably been a quote. This season has been a disaster, and the cannot wait for it to end could mean, and in a sense, the way he words it here, insiders have described 2023, the first full year of the Todd Boehly Clear Lake Capital ownership, as being a disaster and cannot wait for it to end. The way he words this is that people are saying that the Todd Boehly ownership is a disaster and they cannot wait for the ownership to end. What this probably is that 2023, the season 2023 was a disaster and they couldn't wait for the season to end. This is where Matt Law pisses me off. We go back to the other Matt Law tweet. Why even bring this up when we know it's not even true? Bali, Todd Boehly have never publicly explained why they sacked Thomas Tuchel. When I remember, and I think all of us here remember, there was a press conference where Boehly explained that he didn't say exactly this was why we sacked Thomas Tuchel, but it was implied that there was no good communication. And we tried to talk to him on WhatsApp and this and that. And we saw a different vision than him. There was a difference. Why even... Oh, wait, hold up. Why even bring this up? Why'd they give up on Graham Potter? What do you mean? It should be obvious why they gave up on Graham Potter. It was obvious why the fan base wanted to give up on Graham Potter. So it's just like throwing gas into the fire just to get more views and reactions, which is, of course, that's his job. I get it, but that's why I have to read through the lines with Matt Law, and it's frustrating. But I'll go ahead and let you guys chime in on what you think of everything that was said so far.
Ahmed, you muted.
Can you put up Rick Moneymaker's what's it called? A comment. Yeah, there we go. So he says Matt Law does tell the truth, but he does put more in his words to make it worse, and that is definitely something that I do agree with. Now, if we are being honest, yeah, they really haven't explained why they sacked Duke. Let's be honest, guys, right? They've never really said it. You know, I know that was his name, the guy that said that he's heard.
Ahmed, can you bring your mic closer?
Your mic is like terrible.
1 second. All right.
There we go.
Literally, it's because I didn't try and put it up today. But yeah, going back to the point that we were trying to make here is that if you're being honest, with the
there's never an official statement. Mm-hmm.
There was never an official statement. There was never a reason as to why. Because at least back then we would know the reason why they'd sacked managers. Or if you remember at the time when he was sacked, the only reports we had about was stuff about him not knowing who Dennis Zakaria was. For example, if you remember the infamous. That was the infamous news bite. If many people forget, but that was pretty much all we knew. So we never really knew about that. The Potter one, I think he's exaggerating that to a larger extent because of the fact that we know what was going on there with Potter, part of it was definitely on them because of what had happened with how many players they had definitely brought in, of course. So that's for sure. And then the youth first transfer policy. The reason why we don't know why. They need to explain to us, of course, why they're doing the youth first transfer policy, because it is kind of affecting us on the pitch, whether we want to admit it or not. So that's definitely for sure. We know what's expected of Pochettino at the very least. All the teams reported it. I think others have reported it that they want UCL football under Pochettino or some form of Europe at the very least. So.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Paulo,
I mean, it's-
we're well aware of this, but like you're comparing apples to oranges right now. Listen, I'm not saying I'm happy with the ownership, but this is 2 years into an ownership that have been failing with their project or their model. And who knows? Listen, I don't have my hopes up right now, but I could be wrong next season or the season after, and it turns around and we have a more successful club. But the Glazers have been around there for a very long time.
He also probably would.
Yeah, he would. We know he would. We 100% know he would. Most United fans would, and I'm sure most Chelsea fans would. But at the first sight of the first season where it doesn't work out with the new ownership, these same Chelsea fans will want that ownership out too. Like, you know, like, I get it. It's frustrating. I'm not happy about it. But at the end of the day, when it comes to an ownership, you can't assess it off of 1 season, 2 seasons. You got to look at the grand scheme of it, the big picture, which I'm not happy with the way the picture looks right now. But
I'll be
go
honest
on, guys.
though. Chris. He's
What
Chris.
about him?
You just said Chris, big man.
Did?
Yeah.
Do you mean that Chris Jurassic guy or whatever? Is that his name?
Yeah. Like
Oh,
again,
yeah,
like
what
you know,
about Jurassic? Yeah.
you know the other point that they made. So the second tweet, if you don't mind, do you want to go to the second tweet?
The Jurassic one? This one?
Yeah. So that one, I'll be honest. Yeah. If we're being fair, we don't need to know that shit. You know what I'm saying to you? Don't really need to know.
Yeah, we don't need
it's taken it. Yeah, we don't need to know that shit. But the Stamford Bridge stuff is fair because you know they have been making.
Yeah, there has been
that.
sounds. Yep.
Yeah, we have to be honest about that at the end of the day. You know, and listen, you know, listen. I'm not a simp for the ownership. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be. I don't know about you, mate. You know, I mean,
oh, shut up, bro! I'm not happy about this. I'm not.
I'm
happy
pulling your
about
leg, bro. I'm pulling your leg, man. I'm pulling your leg,
Listen, man,
bro.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm not the
Just-
comments. I'm not the comments.
Not
But
here,
like,
not here.
I'll be real though. Like, you know, we need to definitely. I feel like there's a lot of like. I have too many questions right now. I feel like I don't need to know everything. You getting me? I don't need to know why it's sacking the tea lady. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, I really respectfully, I don't care about the tea lady. You know what I'm saying
That's
to you?
true.
You know, the food, you know, there's some people that I just don't care about why he's sacking them or not. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, what I do care about though is what's happened in the stadium. You know what I'm saying? Why have we gone through this complete youth approach? I cannot make my own explanations, but I need to hear it from you. You know, and do you see what the issues are, right, with that? Obviously, we don't know with Tuchel. I personally have always said, yeah, maybe just give the reason why he sacked Tuchel. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, if they really just said,
like
yeah,
they
you know,
did, though.
he's not.
They have.
I don't know, man. Like I remember back in the day, the reports started coming out about reasons why Tuchel got sacked. Like he wasn't talking to them.
No, Ahmed. Todd Bowley did an interview about it.
I think
Yeah,
that's
you
a.
remember
I think
that,
that's a
Ahmed?
problem. Hang on, that's a problem that people are going to take with this as well. We're hearing a lot of these communications from Bowley and Egbali on these like abstract business conferences, not through the club media.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
And that's the thing.
That's
and like I think for me, I think for me as well. Yeah. Obviously we talk about Tuchel. What was the other 2 points? Obviously was not about was about obviously the youth approach which I've spoken about.
Yeah, which
Tuchel,
that's fair. We don't know what the hell the plan is
what-
with the youth.
The Poch stuff, yeah. Unless you had really read the
The expectations.
article, yeah,
Mhm.
or like some random ITK had told you, you wouldn't have really known. And the final point, yeah, I think was
Why
the
they
first.
sacked Potter so soon?
Yeah. Why they packed Potter so soon? So you know, again, you know, for me, it's not really that much of an issue at the end of the day. The Potter one, like I feel like the Potter one kind of like spoke for itself, even though they didn't speak about it, of course.
Yeah, although like they did, but yeah.
But I
I
just
just
think we
find
need
it,
direct communication.
You know what?
Yeah,
through the Chelsea,
what I find funny about all of this is I do understand like that they could have more communication about a few things. What I find funny about all this is do you remember last season under Potter when there's so many things were happening, especially around the Enzo thing where Bowley was, filmed in Portugal or wherever it was, and he was talking about, oh, we're here to have a nice meal and all of that. Like not the first time, but the second time, like when all of the stuff was coming out about and people were complaining, oh, these guys are in the media way too much. Cool. And now they're not in the media.
Thank you, Scott.
Now
I
they're
was
keeping
going to say
quiet,
that.
and you're complaining as well. Like, I do understand that there's a few things they could maybe improve on in terms of the communication, but I don't really care for some of it at the end of the day, because I'd rather they work in silence. I'd rather they do that. Because that's what Roman used to do all the time. Roman always used to work in silence.
Yeah, we would be frustrated about what was going on.
But like, remember, this is something that we spoke about, Scott. Remember in the early days, of the stream when these new ownership came in, I was like, I want us to work in silence. In the summer, I spoke about how the best clubs, we don't hear anything about them until here we go, medical stuff happen, or they've sacked the manager. They will let you know before anyone else happens by anyone else, or when they've hired the manager.
Yeah.
I think the problem for me, the problem is, and I'm trying to read what like the people that have a problem are sort of thinking right now. I think the problem is with these people, they feel a disconnect between what, because the club have said, we want to continue the traditions of Chelsea, we want to win, we want to carry that on and all that. I think there wasn't there like a dinner or something. There was an event like a few weeks ago, and Bowley said something there. He said all these things, but there's a disconnect between that and some of the ways we act. Like, if we're trying to win, then why is Poch still on the job? Why are we exclusively buying under 25 players? Like, I think, it just seems like a lot of mixed messaging. You're hearing one thing and you're seeing another.
You know what it is, Oliver? Oliver, I think it's what the club needs is a bit of what Oliver's saying and a bit of what Scott is saying, and me and Scott are saying, which is that they need to, in some way, shape, or form, they need to actually have some level of maybe a fan forum of some sort. This is just like me spitballing here, where they make their direction, their school of thoughts clear. Maybe you can even do like a nice little Chelsea YouTube video on the Chelsea channel explaining the stuff you're trying to do at the football club at the very least, and the stuff you're doing. And it can be, pay, you can make it, your own PR stint, whatever you want to call it. But at the very least, everyone at the football club, we know what they want, we know what they're doing, etc., etc., and there can be no doubt in mind. They only need to do one interview, in my personal opinion. After that, you do the silent approach. We don't hear anything about.
That's the thing, Ahmed. It doesn't have to be like every week or even every year. Tell us in one go.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying to you, Oliver. I'm just saying, you just need to do one interview, whether it be on a fan forum, a YouTube thing, which you set up yourself as a PR thing, where you speak all of your speak. That's it. You move on, and then from here on afterwards, when you sign a player, only time we need to hear about it is when we hear, here we go from Fabrizio, or the club have said we have completed the signing of X, Y, Z. Or if you've sacked a manager, we will just hear it from you. We don't need to be hearing about we're giving Poch time. We don't need to be giving out these feelers into the media at all.
But going off of what you guys just said, and also Vic is kind of alluding to what I'm about to say. I'm just gonna play devil's advocate here, okay? If if I'm the owners, I do not feel welcomed by the fans.
Oh my!
I don't think. Am I wrong though?
Can I be honest with you, bro?
Do you think like Ahmed? Do you genuinely think?
But there's a reason. But listen, listen, xenophobia, like aside or anything like that.
No, I'm not even saying that.
No. But like, I'm gonna. But okay. Listen, sometimes it's very hard, when you're coming into a situation. If you're being honest, where the previous owner, had done so much for the football club, was so well loved, right? And then you've come in, and there's been a lot of chaos, a lot of mixed messaging, a lot of stuff has not gone right in the last 2 years compared to what these guys have had over the last, since 04 to 22, so around about 18 years at the club, right? So that's the thing, Marshall. I think there needs to be like a level of honesty to that. But the best way to always get things right, in order for you to start feeling that love, is to at least you bring your school of thought, you bring what you're trying to do with the club. And I'm saying to you, that's a very good first step. And then at least there'll be communication and dialogue between whoever the guys are at the top and the fans at the football club. That is a good first step. And then from henceforth, you at least allow yourself to stop doing the nonsense that I've spoken about, which is bringing out news to the media, hearing out these feelers, and just work in silence. And then at the very least, you're not causing any issues through the media with these random stuff we're hearing about. And what is it called? We can see the club is just running, at least in the way you're trying to run it, at the very least. But that's just me, man.
I'm just saying, and I wasn't even trying to make it like a xenophobic argument. But
no. But I know. But I'm just saying.
Wait,
I'm saying that if we take that out, if we just take that shit out, I'm just saying though. If we're looking at it from a regular fan standpoint, though.
Yeah, just from a regular fan stand, which by the way, like, I agree, they should probably, and in the beginning they probably should have done more directly with Chelsea and the media rather than going through third parties and us having to hear it from other press conferences and all that stuff. I agree with that. I think at this point though, I feel like the majority of this fan base dislike the ownership so much that anything they would say, even if it means they come out and say, listen, we've made mistakes with our approach. We understand the results have not been good, but we're trying to change that and we're trying to do it in our way, yada, yada. I feel like even if they came out honestly with honest criticism on themselves and the mistakes they've made, it will not be well received by the majority of this fan base. Just because of what we've seen in the last 2 seasons of utter failure when it comes to implementing the project, which I didn't expect complete success from the get-go either. I expected us to at least still be in competition for top 4 and stuff. I didn't expect it to be this bad, but now that it is this bad, I feel like anything they say will be taken as volatile from the fan base.
Not really, because like I think again, I said this before, you can PR this in the right way. If we're trying to think about it, you can admit we have made faults. You can admit to that.
Sure.
The thing is, the best way to get people on board here is that you first of all admit what you've done wrong, but then if you can offer them an alternative that is valuable, that is correct, then then you can get these guys on board. That's what it is. But like the thing for me, right now, is there's a lack of communication. Communicate at the very least. The problem right now, look at the Glazers, for example. You don't want a situation where it turns out to be like the Glazers. But
we don't.
Guys, clearly, right, they are trying to invest in the club, whether we want to admit or not. Yes, they may be investing in the wrong places, the wrong stuff that we may not be agreeing with, but at the very least, we can at least see there's something that they're trying to do. Whether we agree with it or not, though, is a different thing entirely, though. That's what I'm saying to you. So, first step, I think, for me, should be some level of an interview on YouTube, whether it be PR'd or not, it doesn't matter to me. But you at least align your vision between the 2 owners, and then you can work. We can work from there.
Anyone else want to add anything to that?
No,
I'm good.
We nailed it. Okay. Now that we're done with the owners, I think the next thing that we must discuss is the pressure now that is being surmounted on Poch, which we all are very well aware of and are not happy with. So let's go and start discussing where we stand or where the club stands with Poch. So starting off with the first tweet, Nazar Cancela tweeting a week ago, unlike some of the accusations against United, Chelsea at least look like they have a plan. Their young team have defensive frailties, discipline issues, are naive at times and remain inconsistent, but they have a clear style of play under Pochettino. I put this in because it didn't age well, right, Scott?
The fuck was this from?
It's December 6th from the Sarcasm, before the Everton game. So we have David Ornstein, who did a Q&A.
Wait, was
with
that
the
before
Athletic.
or after the United game? I know it was before.
It was December 6th. Was that after?
Yeah, it
the
would have
United
been
game?
before then. It would have been before.
Oh, okay. So it was before the last 2 games. Continuing on, David Ornstein saying here, I don't know of Pochettino's position being in doubt at all. Again, this was before the United game, I think. Being in doubt at all. To the contrary, Chelsea hierarchy will want to be building into the future with him. But everyone knows this is a results industry, and I'd expect them to review how he's doing in the summer, which will be a year into a 2-year contract with a club option a further 12 months. Then Fabrizio Romano, same situation prior to the United game, I believe. The feeling is the same at Chelsea. Directors and owners all support and trust Mauricio Pochettino. They are waiting for Nkunku to come back, Lavia, Chilwell, Broja, etc. Injuries are a topic at Chelsea. Chelsea still hopes he's the right man for the project. Fast forward to recently, after the Everton game. Fabrizio Romano, Chelsea's owners and everyone at the club views the situation as not acceptable. They know they can't continue like this, and there will be internal discussions about solutions, but Chelsea are still backing, supporting, and trusting Pochettino. They are planning together, but waiting for better results as they cannot continue at this level. Matt Law, While there remains belief that some of the 2023 business will prove to be good in the long term, and there is still backing from Mauricio Pochettino, there's also internal recognition that, from a football perspective, the year could barely have gone any worse. Nizar Cancella, Chelsea remain committed to the project embarked upon under Mauricio Pochettino. There's a belief they can improve. Reece Romano reporting yesterday, it's important to keep a close eye on Chelsea because obviously the situation at the moment is not acceptable. This is the feeling of all those at the club, Mauricio Pochettino, the coaching staff, the owners, and the directors. They all know things can't continue as they are. They are still supporting Pochettino and are not talking to any other managers at the moment. Then the last tweet I have here for Semi Mockbell, which I thought was an interesting tweet. Those at Tottenham and Paris Saint-Germain have worked alongside Mauricio Pochettino in terms of player recruitment. Speaking of a man respectful to the parameters he is working within. He doesn't demand, he recommends, said one source. Okay. So it seems like the tune has changed to there is pressure to have results, but they plan to still back Poch to see out the project. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on all this?
Doesn't seem to be enough pressure on him.
Possible.
I don't understand how it can't be acceptable, yet you accept it and then reward him with money and for transfers. Like, make sense of that to me, because I can't.
Gonna get a window. I think it seems to me, based off the tweets that we read, it seems to me that the board seemed to correlate the results with the injuries we've had, which to a certain extent, sure. But even looking at this tweet right now, respectful to the parameters he is working within, he should be able to get a result against teams that are beatable with the players he has. And we've seen these players don't step up when they should.
He's only got one bona fide starter that's not even fit all the time. You could argue Reece James as well, but let's face it, you knew that since you took the job. You knew that was going to happen. You should have planned for that. And we got Gusto to plan for that, and it just so happens that he's injured. So maybe that's one of the parameters, and I understand that. But with a guy like Nkunku, Nkunku's the only guy in that, apart from James, that is a nailed-on starter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, but you can't be losing to Everton and Nottingham Forest and whoever else.
United in this.
Yeah, United. Look, we literally made Ten Hag look like the Dutch Pep, and now he's look at him before and since.
Yeah.
Can I just be honest, man? This guy, man, he's not for us, man. And this nonsense about pressure is building. There's no pressure building to him, bro. This guy looks very casual, like in the stuff that he's doing. So, like, and the fact that we're saying, you know what, man, we're gonna give you another window. I don't know what to say, bro. You know what, man? I actually feel like time our team is not coming January.
I hope he does, bro. Like I said, I hope he does. Like, I hope he does.
I don't know if you saw Osimhen's about to sign a new contract. There's 120 million release clause in it. These guys are saying that they want to give 150k a week to what's it called? Ivan Toney. So you know what I'm saying? It might just have to be the guy from
Martinez, bring. Hey, Martinez and Dzeko, run it back, fam.
I wouldn't even mind Dzeko, I'll be honest, bro. Actually,
I said, bro, I was trolling, bro. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but Feroz, who does stuff with he tweeted out. He tweeted out, what three players would you want? Specifically, a defender, midfielder, and attacker. And I went, Dan Burn, Scott McTominay, Edin Dzeko. Bring.
I saw you on Lewis's stream, Scott. You were trying to make the most David Moyes lineup I've ever seen.
Oh, 100%, bro. I'm going Dan Burn left back. I'm bringing in Tarkowski and Dunk, Lampard running back, and then whoever you want at right back, it don't matter. Bring me Scott McTominay as my starting midfielder. Enzo can kick rocks. I love you, bro, but kick rocks. Sit on the bench. And then bring me Edin Dzeko up front. Height.
It's wild.
Height.
That's the point, yeah.
That's literally the point, bro. That's what I'm saying. And then when it fails, like it will fail, then we'll have a fucked squad. And we know this manager ain't good enough. but some of us already knew that.
Bro, as funny as that is, I can't be that shameless and let that reality happen. I can't lie.
No, why not? Hey, fuck it.
I'd shoot myself in the foot. I just can't. I'd look at this team and just not recognize it.
If we ever, on a serious note, if we ever signed Scott McTominay to this football club, I would stop supporting.
Bro, listen. The thing is, I'm thinking now. Yeah, he wants a tall midfielder. Who is he gonna get? Like, you know,
Scott McTominay.
Mentally, man, I'm tired. You know, mentally, yeah, I'm just tired of him. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, I don't understand the school of.
Oh, Philip Billing. Oh, I forgot about him.
Wallahi, man. You know, he might say Oliver Skip. You know what I mean? If he wants Gallagher, if he says, okay, you can take Gallagher. Oh, my God. I see that, man. That club. Oh, my God, man. And then always, you know what's crazy?
Hey,
like,
6'2".
It's not Poch's problem. You know, it's not Poch's fault. You know what I mean? You know, it's the club's, it's the ownership. You know what I mean? It's still Stanley's fault. You know what I mean? And we're trying to give him these nonsense.
Hoiberg's available, you know. No, Ahmed, I've got it. I've sorted it. No, Ahmed, I've sorted it. Gallagher and Hoiberg swap deal. Sorted. Banging. There you go.
God. That's insane, man.
We move on to the next topic.
The thing is, Vic's comment is probably Vic. Yeah, the problem with that, bro, he's got 100 million release scores.
You know, that is the next topic, by the way. We can't talk about it.
6'2". Oh, bring him as well.
He's got release scores of 100 M's. They're not paying that. So, like, why are we lying to ourselves? If they're going to get Osimhen, he's got 120 million release scores. Why are they going to go fucking for 100 million release scores? Doesn't make sense. You're just being a stupid prick. That's what you're being.
What is wrong with this guy, man?
All right, let's.
Oh my God.
Let's go on to the next topic, which is in relation to everything we're discussing. Let's talk about some transfers and some insight on it. There's a lot of things going on with the transfers and the rumors, so I'm going to put it all in just one subject. Let's just kind of discuss it as we go. Starting off with what you guys were alluding to, which was apparently the parameters of what we're looking for, right? So first things first, Mauricio Pochettino fears being used as a pawn by agents willing to tell the club recruitment staff that Chelsea boss fancies their player in hope of leveraging a move for their client. That's like every manager, but we move.
Exactly, man. What is this?
Yeah. No, it's a lot of stuff that I've been seeing is news for the sake of news, just to get reactions and just.
Yeah, but why write it though? That's so. It happens to everyone. Oh my God.
Yeah. So Chelsea are keen to avoid paying players more than £150 per week in wages, as they want a tighter rein on the wage bill, according to Sami Mokbel. And then here we have again Sami Mokbel saying frustrations are extending to certain members of the Chelsea squad who are privately instructing their agents to seek moves away, which is easier said than done given the long-term contract, 8 years in some cases, that have been signed. We're looking at probably Madueke in the situation. Probably, who else probably wants to move out? God, I had this in my head.
Give it time. Enzo will.
Yeah, say it quietly. But yeah. If this carries on, yeah, Enzo will be on that list.
I think we're the club that Enzo has spent the longest time at.
Currently, yeah.
I mean, it's been nearly a full season's worth of like time.
If Enzo leaves, I'll be so tattered.
There might be. I don't know how long he stayed at the club he went on loan to when he was at River Plate, the other club in Argentina. But yeah, he was at Benfica. Sorry, he was at River Plate for 6 months, then Benfica for 6 months.
We are. Can I just be honest, boys? Yeah, this probably is, of course, about Madueke and Chalobah. I think those two, because those two.
Chalobah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's
those two are signed onto long-term contracts, but it's just it's sickening. I feel sick, man, to my stomach talking about this nonsense, because part of it, bro, is the manager, and then part of it is the ownership wanted to make money because they've been overspending too much on players that maybe we don't need. I'll be real with you. You know what I mean? A lot of these, you know what's not being spoken about enough, that I've noticed about a lot of people, that a lot of the Chelsea fans are not talking about enough. These young kids we're buying that we're not even using, and they're buying them for 30 million, 40 million. That's also going to have an effect on the transfers, and the money you're spending on them. That's why there's so much added pressure. You know what I mean? When it comes to FFP and us selling all of these young guys at Chalobah, like obviously Gallagher, like Ian Matson. Who's another one I'm forgetting? There's another guy that I'm forgetting as well that's in that group as well. That's what's causing us to sell all of these guys, because all of that money that we're selling them for, we're also using to buy a bunch of players that we need for the first team. And then guess what? Players that we don't even have a club for other than Strasbourg.
Just on Strasbourg, by the way, why can't we buy some of these players through Strasbourg?
That's
just as an accounting practice.
I think maybe it must be an FFP thing, bro. It must be an FFP thing.
You mean Strasbourg are close to FFP violation?
No. Sorry, not FFP. It's incorrect. That's the other one. It's that they must have a cap, a wage cap, which is in line of how much profit they make, which probably means they can't just buy players and then money. I'm assuming that's probably what it is. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something similar to that. But
I got more.
Listen, when it comes down to it, bro, yeah, as I was saying, we just buy unnecessary players that we don't need right now. You know what I'm saying? We don't need those players. Stop buying them, man. Stop buying them.
Let's continue on. No, because there's more tweets. There's a bunch of tweets.
I'll be honest here, because Angelo Gabriel, bro, respectfully, like I've been deep in it recently, yeah. Angelo Gabriel, is he going to be a star of the future? I don't know, but like from right now, I don't think so. Andre Santos, I don't know about him yet. Leslie Ugochukwu, I can understand if because now he's just a guy backup path. But a guy like Devin Washington, are we just bringing him there to be the PL2 guy that's going to help us in that secondary Premier League for the under-21s? Like, you know what I'm saying to you? They're buying some another guy now for 40 million M's. We don't need it.
The only good one in that regard was Moreira because it's a free transfer.
So, yeah, but like
that's the only thing that makes sense. But even then, the loan is terrible.
Right now, he's dying.
Exactly.
In Leon.
Exactly.
He's dying there, drowning.
Let's continue on, boys. Mauricio Pochettino, according to Zarcancella, will hold talks with co-sporting directors Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart and potentially owners Bowley and Iqbali about January transfer plan. He wants to target a defender, a central midfielder, and a striker next month. Guys, I don't like saying this shit, considering we just spent an amortized $1 billion in player contracts this summer.
We don't need this, bro. We don't need them.
I was going to say, this is where we're back to the stockpiling shit of like, so say we sign a striker. Let's just say we sign, I don't fucking know.
Let's say Jimenez. Santiago Jimenez, the easiest one that we can.
No. Say we sign that Gyökeres kid. Say we sign that Gyökeres. Cool. He's not a starting striker for Chelsea, realistically speaking, right? So that's 3 strikers we've now got. The plan, I assume, is still to buy Osimhen. So then we buy him. That's 4 strikers you have, and you play a 1-striker formation.
Yeah.
Now what's the plan?
Not to mention,
probably
all
goes.
the strikers coming
What are we
back.
doing with Jackson? So what happens with Jackson?
And we have that Fofana out on loan.
Cool. I was going to say,
so that we have Washington.
It'll probably be sold. Then I go back to the question I asked for Enzo earlier. What was the fucking point then? If you do that, then you go centre backs. You're already not playing one of our centre backs as a centre back. You're playing him as a left back. That's what's that? The 4th or 5th choice centre back. Chad, when he comes back, 8 in game time. So why are you buying another centre back? Who's then dropping out? Like who's dropping out, or are you just buying someone to have there for like reason, like just for vibes, like just for in the dressing room?
The only thing that makes sense is
we already spoke about. Like there's no place in this squad for these players that he wants, unless you get rid of players that we have just bought.
Yeah, which
I'll be
to me is
honest,
nonsensical.
If we start doing that, If we start doing that, that's when I'm going to hold a lot more energy and have a lot more focus held on the board and the owners, because it's like if
it would have been a second year in a row.
Sell these players that you've just bought, then why did you buy them in the first place?
It would have been a second year in a row. Look at the summer we just went. The players, Koulibaly.
The summer is like I can understand that, because a lot of that was the owners and they were kind of doing it off their own back, and like they just kind of went for like the big name sort of thing for the most part.
Sure, yeah.
But like I it's even more embarrassing this time because this was with thought put into it.
Oh God. Yeah, and this to the height issue. I think it's ridiculous. It's excuses to me. Let's continue on. More tweets. Pochettino believes his squad is imbalanced and the lack of height is an issue, with the Blues having the second smallest squad in the Premier League. But haven't we won the most headers in the box and set pieces?
Yes.
Pretty sure that's a stat, defensively wise. So, okay, let's continue. New signings. Expectations of striker or someone who can play multiple attacking positions next month or summer. Center back, likely next summer. I don't think they'll extend Thiago Silva again. And Cuckoo Broja back fit might see Chelsea not press as hard in the market next month. And this is coming from David Ornstein as of last week. So
centre back in the summer actually makes sense. If they wait until the summer, the centre back thing kind of makes sense depending on who they sign. Like, that actually makes sense. Like, that actually kind of makes sense. In January, it makes no sense. Also, the fucking striker thing, like that's Nkunku then. So you're just looking for another Nkunku. That's what we're buying. Yeah. Just another dude who can play multiple positions in the front line. So we're doing this. We have. Like, I'm not saying I rate this player. Obviously, I wanted him gone. So that's what fucking Havertz was, man.
Yeah.
That's what fucking Havertz was.
Wild to me. Let's continue on. David Ornstein again a week ago. As for new signings, I'd expect an attacker, whether it be a striker or somebody who can play multiple positions around the front line in January or in the summer, and likely a center back in the summer. I don't think they'll extend Thiago Silva with Nkunku returning and all this. We could also see some outgoings in the form of squad members such as Chalobah and Maatsen, which was kind of an iteration of the last tweet. Then Nazar Cancela a few days ago reporting Chelsea are confident they can spend more and stay within financial fair play rules, but may look to sell Trevor Chalobah and Ian Maatsen, which we kind of saw coming. Going on, Mauricio Pochettino wants a target man style forward to add height, physicality, and goals to his team. He wants a prolific goal scorer ready to make an immediate impact.
There is no one available in the market that's going to do that for you, Haji. So what's
Edin
going on,
Dzeko.
man? Oh my god, bro. That is literally, man.
Also, you have that.
God.
Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think he's more than just a target man. But if you want a target man style fucking forward, you've got that in Broja. So play him then.
Oh my, he's so tapped, man. You know what I'm saying? I genuinely just think he's just tapped, man.
Bro, this man's trying to run it back like Ricky Lambert style.
Let's continue on. Chelsea face a big decision over whether to shift from their recent transfer policy and rip up their wage structure to land a top-class striker in January, according to Nazar Cancela. Which, by the way, I wouldn't mind that if it means getting an Osimhen. If you have to rip up the wage structure
in January, there's no way we're signing an Osimhen in January. It has nothing to do with our wage structure. It's nothing to do with anything other than the fact that the only way we're signing Osimhen in January is if we pay that new release clause. That's the only way we're getting Osimhen in January. That's probably the only way we're getting Osimhen full stop. That's the only way we're getting Osimhen. The only other dude we're signing that's a top striker is Tony. There's no one else we're signing that is of that level.
So I just meant in general, though. Like, if it means getting this player in the summer.
Oh no, I 100% agree. But like, I don't think it's down. Like, I think the wage structure thing is nonsense. Like, I don't think it's anything to do with our wage structure.
Yeah, it's, and this is a good prime. This is actually a good point. And why did he agree to get Jackson? Why not agree for Vlahovic?
Yeah, because Vlahovic is more of a target man type striker.
That is a very good point.
I'm saying. This guy doesn't know what he wants. This guy is a clown. He's a clown. And I'm pissed off with myself that I didn't see more red flags that, like, I'm starting to notice from, like, his time at other clubs.
Let's continue on. Oh shit. Chelsea 5-man striker shortlist ahead of January transfer window. Osimhen, Tony, Victor Gyökeres, like you guys just said. I think I just butchered that name. Gyökeres, thank you. Rooney Bardghji. Oh, Jesus Christ.
No.
Antonio Nusa. Yeah, and Nusa is not even a striker, by the way. I think he's a left winger.
No, the bottom two aren't strikers. Both the bottom two are wingers.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. So, yeah, this is according to Nazar Kinsella. Let's continue on. And this is where it starts looking grim, boys. Napoli had a constructive meeting today over extending Victor Osimhen to 2026. The proposal includes inserting a release clause worth 112 million to 120 million pounds, way out for the striker, according to DiMarzio, who we know is a reliable source when it comes to Italian journalism. Breaking. This was a few hours before the stream. Victor Osimhen has reached an agreement in principle with Napoli to extend his contract until 2026. His new release clause will be around 130 million euros, according to Fabrizio Romano.
No, that's surprising. To be fair, Napoli
no, that's surprising. Also, that would have been the price we have to pay anyway. Like
exactly, Napoli were always going to do that in order to get the most out of him possible, which is fine. But sorry, but Marshall, you go.
No, I was just going to say, the price isn't surprising to me. The fact that they actually agreed a deal after all the scandal with the racism and all that stuff earlier in the season was so blown up. Not saying it wasn't right. I think he had 100% reason to be upset about it and people to be outraged. But I thought, based on all those articles, that he was going to lean towards a departure. And now he's agreed an extension, essentially, in principle.
Yeah, but I think that they did this, though. I think... Actually, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, but like... I agree what you're saying, Marshall. However, I'm assuming that in that contract it says that like I am allowed to go. Obviously, the release cost is 130. You know, teams who really like Chelsea would be stupid enough to pay that money. As much as I believe he is worth that, more or less, Chelsea would be stupid enough to pay it. Like potentially, Man United need a striker. Arsenal definitely need a striker. Teams would pay that money. And they deserve it now. Yeah. And regardless
like
of the race,
the teams that are gonna pay that money are gonna pay that money because they think he's that next top quality striker, like world class striker in the making, right? And obviously Napoli think he's that because they helped him win the Scudetto last season. And the thing is, like, I'm not surprised he signed it with the release clause being included because it still gives him that. Because let's be real, like he was never going to go for really anything less than that anyway, and he probably knew that. And it's the same thing Kvaratskhelia did. Kvaratskhelia refused to sign a new contract unless they included a release clause, but I think around 90 million. I don't know if he has signed it. I know that was reported like a couple of months ago. I don't know if he has since signed it. But like it's because they know that there's an out. And as long as they can keep playing to the level that they are playing at now or were playing at last season, obviously Osimhen this season, I think a little bit. In fact, for both of them, it's kind of dropped a little bit, but I don't think that's all on them. That was on the manager at the start of the season. As long as they keep playing to the same level they were last season, they'll go for that money. Like they'll go for that money because that's where the market is right now. Like Man United spent 80 million or 70 something million on a guy that had been at Atalanta for a season, didn't even have 10 league goals. For like a 19-year-old.
Let's continue on also while we're still talking on Osimhen. Details on the Osimhen contract renewal: significant wage increase, 130 to 140 million euro release clause, contract until 2026. Then João Palhinha representatives have sounded out Chelsea over a deal as Mauricio Pochettino aims to build a new spine for his. Oh my God! Aims to build a new spine for his team.
We don't have an old spine.
Then why did we buy Enzo and Caicedo?
Hold on.
My God!
Wait, what position does Palhinha play in? Like, how does he fit in?
He's like an 8, right?
No, he's a
6.
Okay.
So, do we sell Caicedo or Enzo?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why none of this makes sense. It's like, then what was the purpose of buying Caicedo? Because he's more expensive. Like Bayern were quoted like 80 mil, weren't they, for Palhinha?
Yeah,
all of that in Caicedo. So like,
we are literally becoming a joke. Like this is fucking insane. Like Now I agree more so with the fans that say, just give us a transfer ban at this point. We need to stop.
We need
this.
a transfer ban. We don't need any signings. I repeat, yeah, maybe left back, of course.
I'll say the only player we need is left back, and that's only because Poch doesn't fancy the one we already have.
But like you know,
Yeah.
like I've seen, I think big up Surfer. Surfer said we need a goalkeeper, a left back, and a striker. I'm like, right now in the short term, probably a left back is the only one that we need. And like, so for me, that's it. Let's give him the left back and actually go. You have enough potential, enough whatever you need of these players to get you a Europa Conference League spot.
Don't need the left back.
Let's continue.
maybe. You know what? But do you not think so? Because like obviously Kukurea looks like he's injured. Chilwell's injured now.
I trust Kukurea.
That's the thing.
So we need at least one.
I was going to say, from our perspective, we don't need a left back. From Poch's perspective, we need a left back because he doesn't trust the ones we have.
You guys keep talking about Poch as if he's going to be here much longer, man. He's gone.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
I think he's getting the window.
I've already said that when it comes to the window, like this window, we don't need anyone. Like, I don't think we need to make a signing realistically, but like, I can understand why we would make one in certain positions for Poch in terms of left back. The midfielder, and defender is fucking nonsense. Like, that's absolutely ludicrous.
I think that is nonsense. Let's continue on. Let's talk about this player that you guys were discussing briefly. Chelsea has also been scouting Sporting Lisbon striker Victor. How did you say it again? Gyökeres?
Yeah.
Okay, Gyökeres. According to Jacob Steinberg. Another tweet here. Chelsea scouts have been watching Victor Gyökeres, Tony, and Osimhen are high on the wish list as the club gives serious consideration in signing a top striker in January. Okay, another player here that was also touted was Chelsea have been tackling Copenhagen's Rooney Bardghji. I can't. I'm sorry. Rooney.
Jesus Christ.
Let's say
Rooney. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Rooney. But two targets.
I've noticed a trend of Marshall, but we know we're gonna leave it.
What? Okay, well, we'll talk about it afterwards. But yeah. Listen. We have a Jackson. We don't need another potential striker. Give me someone that's proven already. That's shown me the level. Well, not even him, but we're talking about Victor as well. Gyökeres. It's just
the thing is,
no more. We don't need to buy any more.
I don't mind necessarily getting potential, but like, why don't we get potential that has shown that is work? Like, for example, if we're looking at a youngish striker that's firing right now, there is Santiago Jimenez in the Eredivisie. There is Gift Orban. There is
allow me these names.
We were looking at Orban before, to be fair. We were looking at Orban at one
do you know what it is though?
There's young players who are firing. Finding players in the backwoods of random countries when we're in 12th isn't gonna help us.
Yeah.
But Prime, do you know what the issue is? All these players you mentioned, whether it be Gyökeres, a Jimenez, even a Boniface, all these guys we all mentioned, these guys are still gonna need time to actually develop and actually work in the league that we're in. So what's the difference between, in my personal opinion, Jackson and Broha and these guys as well?
Yeah, no, I know.
Not really much of a difference.
That's on scouting to find the best players possible to not only suit our team but also suit the league.
But this is also where I do concede to the thought that what if scouting is just simply being told what Igbali is telling them? Listen, I want the average age to be 25. I don't want players more than 24 years old.
No, that thing is nonsense. That thing is complete nonsense about the age.
Why do you say that?
Because if that was the case about the age, we wouldn't have been looking at Tony at all. We wouldn't be looking at Paulinho at all. We wouldn't be looking at Jonathan Tah like we are at the moment at all.
I mean, now it's not. I agree. Now it's because this is where I come back to what I said about the owners, right? The owners I think the owners have a good intention as far as I'm aware, but they keep fucking up and they keep making mistakes. And I think one of the mistakes that they're learning is that, oh shit, last season we went for proven. and well-known players didn't work out with Potter. This season, let's go for young and talent and up and coming. It's not working out. What if in this window now they're approaching it like, you know what? We need to balance it out, which is why now they're opening up to this idea of like, okay, let's try for a Paulinho. Let's go for a Tony. You know, maybe an Osimhen.
No. But Marshall, Marshall. We've been looking at Tony since the summer.
Oh, okay. You know,
we've been looking at Tony for
that's true.
Even before the summer. We were interested in Tony. Paulinho, we were interested in the summer as well.
Okay, that's fair.
The only one that's happened in the last couple of months is Jonathan Tah. In terms of that, like this age thing is nonsense. This age thing is complete nonsense, and the only reason why it's a conversation is because of one article that came out because we didn't sign James Maddison, and that has nothing to do. The age thing has nothing to do with why we didn't sign James Maddison.
And speaking of Ta, let's keep going with the links here. Simon Phillips, Wolves defender Max Kilman is one of the center backs that Chelsea are looking at.
Yeah, but we've been.
By the way, he's 26. He's going to be 27 at the end of the season. Is Kilman?
Yeah, but
so this age thing is bollocks.
We've been linked to Max Kilman for a few years now, though. We're linked with him under Tuchel.
Yeah, he's a Chelsea fan.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Bayer Leverkusen's central defender Jonathan Tah has been looked at by Chelsea, according to Ben Jacobs, and this has been touted for a few months now. Oh shit! Fucking did the wrong thing. And then last tweet I believe I have when it comes to the signings or incomings. Breaking: Chelsea are interested in signing Jonathan Tah, who has a release clause in his contract and could be potential successor to Thiago Silva. New agent is Pini Zahavi.
So what was the fucking?
I think he's quite. Wait, so
what was the fucking
I heard
point?
complaining about the about the transfers, and I've got to question something, bro. And I've got to agree with Scott because, like, what's this age rubbish? Because first of all, who's the one that's deciding this age thing? Because last season, when we didn't have the Stewart and the other idiot, I can't remember these lots of names, man.
Winstanley.
Stanley and Stewart, yeah.
We didn't have that last summer, and last summer we got what? Koulibaly, oh God knows, 30 years old. Aubameyang, 30 years old. What's his face? Sterling.
We tried to get Ronaldo.
Okay, Ronaldo for the image and whatnot. Sterling, who's almost 28 now, and then these lot come in, and all of a sudden we're getting young players, and then, so I don't understand. And then now we're going back to older players. Like, what's going on here? Who's making these decisions? I'm confused.
A lot of us are confused.
We don't know for sure.
Because from last summer to now, it's a complete different model.
By the way, I do just want to go back to the Tar thing. Like, I'm not opposed to us getting Tar, right, because of the experience thing. But, like, where's he going to play?
I think he's just squad now. I think he's just squad. It's more about numbers in the squad. We have Chalobah, but I'm guessing Chalobah is a way of getting.
It's not even just that. It's like it's more. I'm just thinking of like if I'm these players, right? Why am I coming here?
Well, okay, because we're Chelsea and we're London.
Also, so I'm coming, bro. I'm gonna be honest. London's overrated, but I'm coming here to chill on the Chelsea.
It's not Scott. Scott, stop the cap.
It's overrated.
Scott,
I like London.
It is.
Listen,
that's coming from people who live in England, though. Come on, like.
Yeah, it's nice. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a nice city. It's probably one of the nicest cities in England, but it's overrated.
I mean, I get where you guys are coming from.
The thing for me, the reason I mentioned the reason I brought this up is the reason I mentioned this is because, like, if I'm Tar, I'm coming here to compete, and if he's being looked at as a successor to Silva, that implies he's going to come here to be the starter. Which I'll go back to it. What was the fucking point of signing Disassi?
Fair. That's fair. Do you guys think Disassi was an emergency signing for Fofana?
The way that we are doing some of the signings, and I don't know where to put the blame if it's just on one person or whatever, is the way some of our signings, we are doing our signings, there's no like link between any of them. They're all just being done in isolation in a vacuum of like completely away from all the others.
I assumed Disassi was like when we signed him, because I didn't know about him, I assumed he was signed to be a squad player to replace Chalobah. Is Chalobah supposed to be?
That's what I assumed as well. And he's proceeded to play
Fofana.
most of the games this season.
But Scott, let's be real, right? The reason why he's playing so much is because Fofana's been injured and Badiashila's been injured.
Oh, that's another one. Oh, fuck, I forgot about Fofana. I completely forgot he plays for Chelsea.
For who?
Those two were fit. If
Fofana.
those two were fit,
Wesley.
or even if it was just Badiashile that was fit this season, Disasi would be a backup.
Yeah, but see, Scott, I think bro, we're gonna have what? Say Chalobah leaves and Silva leaves, and we get Tar. That's what 4 centre backs for.
No.
Centre backs.
That's 5.
Sorry.
That's 5 centre backs.
problem
with
is-
Fofana
the
as
problem-
well.
For 2 positions.
So what's
I'll be
so
honest.
Ziad, can I ask you a question? What's the hierarchy in that? What those 5 centre backs? What's the hierarchy?
I don't know, man.
Because if you gave me those 5 centre backs based on what I've seen so far this season and asked me to list the hierarchy, number 5 is Fofana, who we spent 70 million on.
Exactly.
Or
Fofana for me
number 5 is
finished.
Colwill. Or number 5 is Colwill, who you kept and gave a new contract instead of cashing in on. And
Really?
you've now put him in a position.
What do
You
mean?
can still get money for Colwill, but you've put Colwill in a position where you're going to get a lot less for him now than you would have done in the summer. That's what I'm saying, where a lot of these transfers look like they're done in isolation. It doesn't look like there's any planning done with
Yeah.
any of these. That's what I'm
Because if you
saying.
think
It
about
doesn't
it-
look like there's any planning.
Which makes
If you
sense. Which would make sense because because the players we're talking about, one was signed without the Stewart and the other idiot, and one were signed with the Stewart and the other idiot. Because they were all
No, but the
bowlies,
thing-
weren't they? The sign, last
No, but
summer,
the-
Fofana
all
was,
the
yeah.
Sterling and that, and the Fofana wasn't that was all bowley and that. Or my high.
No, but I think for me, yeah, even if you're being honest here about the centre backs you have in the squad, yeah, if you left side centre back, yeah, probably should be Badiashile and Levi Cole. Right centre back should be
All Levi Cole showed me is that he can't defend.
Axel. No, I'm talking
As a
about
left
from
back.
my this. If you're looking at this from a left centre back standpoint, those are the two you have right now, and then obviously you have Axel Disasi, and then probably you bring in one more person for me. And the thing for me is Fofana. I think again he's someone that's just way too injury prone. I can't rely on him. But I don't feel like bringing in Tar is going to solve that issue for you. He's not a great player. I'll be honest. I don't know if you watched him in the Bundesliga. He's not good.
Wait, when you Scott, what you were saying? Because I'm body half asleep. When you were saying who's the hierarchy, what do you mean?
As in, so
Like
it is
what
in the
order?
pecking order. So what
Yeah,
order
yeah. Who's
in
the
terms of
best?
starting? So like you'd assume
I would
next
probably
season.
say
Say Chalobah,
Fofana.
and Silva leaves. What would you say is from number 1 guaranteed starter and like downwards?
I'll say Fofana and probably Badiashile.
Those are the 2 starters.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So who's third?
Colwell,
So who's fourth?
Disasi.
And then who's fifth?
We don't need a fifth.
What?
Don't need the fifth, bro.
Didn't you just say we need a fifth if we get rid of?
No, I'm explaining why they're probably doing it, but I don't think we need it.
Are we not trying to sell Fofana, by the way?
Why
I
the
don't
fuck
know,
are
Apparently
we
man.
not.
I
selling
don't know
Fofana,
what's
bro?
going on with him.
I
I don't know
don't
where.
Not that I've heard.
I don't know what the hell's happening.
I don't
with him.
know if this is actually true or this is something I just heard on a stream or something. But I thought Fofana is available to go.
He is training, but
No. To be he is on offer to be sold or something. No.
I think he is too. Bro,
No,
he's
he's
too
not,
injury
man.
prone. He's too injury prone. What does I think for me, there's a reason why they're looking for other centre backs here in his position, bro, because they don't believe in him anymore, man.
Yeah, but the way I said it is, so we've got 2 left-sided centre backs and 2 right-sided centre backs.
Well, I think I'll be real. The
May have
centre back
been
thing for
Dacho
me,
Fofana.
the centre back thing for me depends on what happens this season. Because if we get into Europe, we probably do need a 5th defender, a 5th centre back. If we don't, then we probably don't need another centre back.
Yeah.
And that's what I say with the centre back thing. Wait until the summer and assess in the summer. So it also depends if Silva leaves.
Yeah.
I actually rate Chalobah.
I
Listen,
rate
also
Chalobah as one. I'd like to keep him, but it's quite obvious that either
I
the
think
ownership
yeah.
or the manager or both
It's
don't
probably easy
rate.
profit though. That's the problem as well.
Exactly. Also, take this with a grain of salt, but the last comments made towards Wesley Fofana was that Pochettino really rates him and he wants to try him, and it's part of his
Then-
plan.
then-
No,
then
no,
I
no.
don't
People
see-
sleep
then
on
I don't
Fofana,
see-
man. People sleep on
But
Fofana.
again, with Fofana, you almost run into what I like with the Reece problem. He's not reliable enough for you to be starting games with. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is why for me, there's a reason they're looking for another centre back. People will say, "Oh, it's because of Thiago Silva's leaving." It's not because of that, bro. They're just bringing another guy because they don't trust Fofana to be a starting guy for you. So
I
Yeah,
don't
but hold
know.
up. He's been here for a year, yeah?
I don't know if
He's
they're
been
gonna
here for
sell
a
him,
year.
especially for the
It's
amount
It's
they
not
got
just for
him
1 year,
for.
bro. It's not just for 1 year, bro. It's because the time his time at Leicester and now his
I
time
don't
at
give a
Chelsea.
shit about his
And
time
there's a
at
clear
other
pattern.
clubs, man. I
No,
don't care
no,
about
it
other clubs.
isn't. You have
No,
to, bro.
if that
You can't ignore that.
listen,
No,
bro,
man,
stop
stop. You
screaming,
can't do
man.
that, bro.
This is
If
2 in
you're
the morning, man. Why screaming, man? Listen.
bro,
You know,
listen,
by the way,
if that's
Dia,
you
by the
don't
way,
say
you know
if you
this
say
man. Hang on,
if
you know
if
this
he's-
man has had 9 knee injuries. I think 9 knee injuries in his career.
God, we're not doing this thing again.
No, I'm
Coherent,
talking about Fofana.
coherent.
Bro. I don't care what. Like, you can try and tell me about all the all the parts of a knee. Bro's had 9 injuries, I think, on his knees. He's 20.
Bro, it's just unlucky, man.
What a
It's
comment.
just
What a comment.
It's just unlucky, man.
Fofana and Reece were born at the McVitie's Digestive Factory.
Oh my god.
To be fair, I will be honest. Like, the Jonathan Tah signing. When you look at this, if you put it in a vacuum, makes a lot of sense. Like, in terms of he's tall, it's a cheap price, he's got experience. I think he's Bayer Leverkusen captain. It all makes a lot of sense. But then you look at the rest of our squad, and I don't understand where the planning is coming in terms of cool. So these guys are just coming to do what? Are they going to all start? Are we playing a back 5, like of centre backs?
And
Well,
on that
saying.
too, I do want to add, and on that too, I do want to add this. What is the plan with the goalkeeper? Because this is another Chelsea, United, Bayern,
it's
PSG.
not this one. Bro, bring the. I hope you've got the tweet about goalkeepers actually that I need to. Just
I don't.
There's another tweet about goalkeepers. Finish this tweet. Finish this. Tweet
Oh, yeah, okay. And let me know which one. Contract negotiations between Mike Maignan and AC Milan. Maignan wants to stay, however, is looking for a significantly increased salary, which is very brazen of him to ask, considering he's been injury prone. But at the same time, if we have Sanchez as a number 2, and we bring in Maignan as a number 1, I'm inclined to almost entertain it. I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
The only way we're bringing
Marshall.
Maignan is if we sell Sanchez.
Yeah.
By the way, can I just say this? I was watching Eunice's stream or video a few days ago, and he was going through the list of contracts of players we signed, and
8-year
just
contracts?
how many players we have on 6, 7, 8 year deals.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Oh yeah, Sanchez is on a
No,
7-year deal, I think.
Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
we signed so many players on literally death row contracts. It's mad. We're not getting rid of, because we signed both Sanchez and Petrovic on long deals. So, like, how does that work?
But you know what? No, but you know what the thing for me is, because there was a tweet. I don't know if I can find it. But there was a tweet basically saying that the club are debating looking into goalkeeper options as they are unsure about the viability of the backups to Sanchez. So you're telling me the guy that you just signed in the summer, you just signed a dude in the summer to be backup, hasn't touched Everton was the first time he graced a football pitch for Chelsea, and you decided at that moment that the backup options for Sanchez aren't good enough. The fuck are you talking about? We spent 28 great British pounds, 28 million great British pounds on this dude. Not touch a football pitch till December, and you decide he's not good enough. This is where I say, and this is where I'll go at the owners and the recruitment. If these reports are true, the recruitment is a fucking mess.
Yeah, Scott. By the way, I read that to you on Monday because I think it was on my stream with Oliver that we looked at it. Yeah, because it was by either Sam or Mokbro, or it was by Nizar. Like that is actually an indictment here on Petrovic, because this guy is meant to be one of the best guys in the MLS. And
no, he was the best goalkeeper. He was the best goalkeeper. And it wasn't even close, by the way. In terms of the numbers, obviously stats can be deceiving. In terms of the stats, like underlying numbers, he was by far and away the best goalkeeper in the MLS.
Fair enough, then. So if this guy is, as Scott says he is, and I pretty much believe him on that one, then how are you saying that he's just not good enough to be in the EPL then? Like,
you know what's crazy?
Why has he been showing you in training? What's he been showing you in training then?
You know what's crazy though, Ahmed and the rest of the guys? They said the same thing about Slonina.
No, Slonina was different. No, Slonina. Andrew always gets confused by this stuff. The thing with Slonina was he wasn't the best goalkeeper in the MLS. He was one of the best young goalkeepers in the world at the time. And the plan for him, because he was like 17, 18, was always to bring him in to loan him out and develop him. Like, he wasn't one of the best goalkeepers in the MLS. Like, he wasn't. He was a good goalkeeper, but like, he had his flaws. But he was seen as someone, like, people that knew more about goalkeeping than I do said that some of the things in terms of the signs he was showing at a young age was what they had seen in like Buffon at that age, in basically implying that if he reaches his potential, he could become as good as Buffon. So he wasn't. He was like the best, one of the best young goalkeepers.
Yeah, but Scott, wasn't the plan with Slonina that we would loan him out for like a couple of years or a few years, and then he'd come back and be our number one?
Yes,
That was
And
the
if
impression
that's
I
the
had.
logic, if that's the logic, then I kind of understand when we bought Sanchez and using him for 2 years or 3 years, and then bringing back Slonina. But then going in and buying Petrovic doesn't make sense.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree. Like,
And then now being linked to Mike Maignan doesn't make sense either. Are we not meant to be waiting on Slonina in a few years?
the thing is, the Maignan one makes sense in a sense of like, you could sign him, like do kind of a check and Courtois thing where you sign him, have him as your main goalkeeper for like 3 years, give those 3 years to Slonina to develop, and then you bring Slonina back. And by that point, I don't know how old Maignan is now, but I'm pretty sure he'll be over 30 at that point.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, by that point, he'll be
Age.
31, 32-ish. So then at that point, you can make him the backup and start putting Slonina in. He's got an experienced guy with him. But
20
we
years
didn't
old,
sign
Maignan.
Sanchez on
How
a
old is he?
7-year contract, which
20.
like,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, he's 28. He'll be 29 by the end of the season. That's why I say about 31, 32.
Mhm.
But yeah, so what was it called? We then signed Sanchez, put him on a 7-year contract. Cool. Like, you can still work the same model. It won't be quite as good because Sanchez isn't as good as mine. You can still work the same model. Then you buy Petrovic, and I'm still calm with that because he's still young enough. I think Petrovic is only like 24 or something like that. He's quite a young goalkeeper, and you can still make it work. If we now go and sign a third goalkeeper in the space of like six months,
But Scott, you know what this all comes back to? We're just doing too much stockpiling, man. And the
it's
problem
not even the stockpiling, bro.
No,
It's,
but like,
it's not the stockpiling. Last season was just, well, it kind of is stockpiling, but it's not stockpiling in the sense of I look at the way we've done with the loan players. It's just this, like I said, all of these transfers, there's no planning. There's no link being put between any of them. It's like, let's just buy this player because he looks cool.
Do you know what?
It's like, well, cool. What about the player you've got in his position?
You know what it's got? Yeah, they've been they're doing the FM model, yeah, where they're just looking at all these current wonder kids, and they're like, okay, get him. And then the problem is, yeah, you're getting all these guys. You've clogged up the whole area, but you only have Strasbourg to put these guys in, but you can only put 3 guys in.
We can't even loan anyone out because we've already got too many frigging European loans.
So for me, it's just the math is not mathing, bro. The math is not mathing. And then, like, for me, yeah, I don't know what Petrovic has been doing, yeah, in training to be said to be not good enough right now. I don't understand.
Ahmed, it's Poch. Let's be real. It's Poch. We can't. Let's take that with a pinch of
I
salt.
was going to say, his standard is not a good one.
But also, but for me, when it comes to goalkeepers, seeing what they do in training is such, like, even if that's what they're basing on, that's such a stupid thing to do because it's like training. We ain't seen him. We haven't seen, apart from the couple of minutes he got against Everton, we haven't seen him play a fucking game.
But for me, I don't understand. For me, what's not making sense to me is that surely if Poch is saying to every player that he bought is trash or ass, yeah, then why did he agree to put in a contract and sign with you when you told him you were going to be saying all these players?
Why did you hire him as well? Like, if he wanted to make these many changes to your team,
man.
this is what friggin' Enrique wanted to do, and you went no to him.
Enrique said he would keep Ziyech. You know that, right? People forget that Enrique was actually saying some of the players that you didn't want yet.
Did he actually? Did he actually? Was that Ziyech?
Scott, you didn't believe me when I told you. You didn't.
No, I didn't, bro. It's you. No, I didn't. Because it's you.
Bro,
no,
the first thing he said in his interview was, "I want Ziyech."
Yeah, he did. Like, he actually. So the thing with him, yeah,
Man,
he didn't actually rate Mudryk and Madueke, which was
no, he didn't. I know he wanted to change the wingers, and they said no.
Yeah, but
and now we're about to sell Madueke.
Yeah, but because he was.
Oh yeah, this is true as well. Yeah, this is true as well. Like, this manager, man, and this fucking ownership, man.
Yes,
but you have to wonder, man. Like, you know, I don't know, man. If the next manager comes in, I still don't believe they want Mudryk or Madueke in the squad. And if that's the case, what do? You sign these guys to death row contracts.
The thing is, though, like, this is the part that baffles me, and someone said it, and it rang so true with me. Prior to Mudryk coming to this club, he was one of the most sought out youths in the world. Like, he was.
I've never heard of him.
I'd debate that. I've never heard of him for Arsenal.
I only heard of 2 clubs interested in buying him. One was Arsenal, one was Everton.
So my point in saying that though is that he's come to this club and we've made him shit. And I wouldn't say I should say Poch.
Like he went to the Bernabeu, by the way, and got a standing ovation. From what?
Yeah, I know, that's wild. That's absolutely insane.
By the way, we haven't. I just want to say this: we haven't made him bad. He is an incredibly inexperienced player.
He's a very raw player, and instead of giving him a guy that's going to highlight his, kind of smooth him out and round his edges, it's the same with Broja. Like I said earlier, I think Broja's better.
This is why we actually should have sent him to RC Strasbourg.
Yeah,
no,
we could
you say that, Ahmed. You say that, right?
Shut up, man.
Ahmed, you say send him to Strasbourg, but we're meant to be using this season to play and develop these young players.
I hear you, Prime, but he I don't know if he's doing that though. Like he played in 3 or 4 games in a row.
He's not playing him enough.
Stop playing him for a bit. Yeah.
By the way, I'm not saying Mudryk is like good enough or anything. I don't like. If you want my personal opinion, I don't believe a lot of these young players you signed are actually good enough. But we're meant to be developing them, so they all have to play, regardless.
No, but the thing is, Prime, yeah, I agree with you, bro. But like, you look at a guy like Madueke, 119 minutes early, bro. 190 minutes. We're meant to be developing this guy. You know,
the thing is though, like
Look at Chukwu, another one.
Yeah,
we're meant to be developing him. But it's
hold up. You said it's our job to develop them.
Well,
it is our job.
That's what the man's prerogative is. That's our job.
What the point is. There's no. You're not buying these players for them to like. For some of these players, we're not buying them to like for them to impact the team now. Yeah, like we're not buying
have to
these players.
develop potential.
I'm gonna say something, and listen, man. This might be okay. I don't know. I'm just gonna say it. Listen, these owners, the worst thing these lot could have done, and I'm like. Bro, sacking Tuchel was criminal, bro.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree. I promise you that.
Yeah.
You know what? What was I don't know if Tuchel outright said it or he hinted at it. These man came in, bought a club, and thought they knew everything and thought they were the bollocks. When clearly they're not, because we're in this mess of players and contracts. Fair play, amortization, getting Enzo over the line and whatnot. That's all amazing because you're businessmen and you're billionaires for a reason. Fair enough. We credit you for that. But the way the club is going and the way the club is run and having 2 managers in 6 to 7 months, 8 months, what it is, when you've just bought a club, you're clearly doing something wrong. And I'm sorry, Tuchel was right saying you can't walk in and think you know everything about football. And I'm telling you right now, sacking Tuchel, bro, that was criminal, man. Criminal.
I will say, before you guys go, real quick, hold on to that thought, Ahmed. We'll come back to it. Because you, Ziad, you mentioned the amortization, and I didn't want to bring this last bit onto the stream before we continue our discussion. And by the way, if you are watching, smash that like button if you haven't done so already. Big up to the whole panel for joining us and having an awesome discussion, awesome show. Hope you guys have been enjoying it. Let's talk about amortization. So Chelsea remain committed to signing elite young players. Not entirely sure what that means, but okay. Elite young players on long contracts, despite voting in favor for limiting amortization of new contracts to a maximum of 5 years. Continuing on, Chelsea faced pivotal meeting of Premier League shareholders today, which was 2 days ago, yesterday, that threatens to further undermine the transfer strategy of club Todd Bowley Clear Lake Capital owners. Club have put contract amortization rules on the agenda and want the Premier League to fall in line with UEFA and cap domestic amortization at 5 years. It is understood that that some clubs even feel such a move, if voted through, should be backdated to the summer, but it is unclear whether or not that could happen. Premier League clubs have today voted in favor of limiting new contracts to a maximum of 5 years, which means deals cannot be longer to help FFP amortization. Going on, the rule changes to amortization won't be backdated as Chelsea avoid action over their £400 million spree.
So I just wanted to hit
go ahead, Ahmed.
Tuchel, that was a big mistake. I don't think sacking Tuchel is not a mistake. Even in hindsight, I would say that. I would still say that. I think the issue was not having a sporting director ready with you alongside you, to start the actual process was the main issue for me. That was what happened because for me, losing Marina and then losing Czech at the same time when the transfer window was starting, of course, is a big loss. But you should have already had your guy that you knew was going to be right there alongside you to buy the plays that you needed to start the process with. We got that guy 6 months in too late.
Yeah,
didn't they want to keep Marina, but she said no, or was that?
Yeah, they wanted to keep both of them. Like that's the thing. And when people say, "Oh, they sacked all the no," they didn't. Czech and Marina. I think Buck might have been the only dude they actually sacked or told to leave. But Marina and Czech, they both wanted to stay to help with the transition. They both said no. They both left.
Yeah, but that's why.
Czech's got blood on his hands, man.
But that's why for me again, it's not necessarily Tuchel leaving. That's the issue.
Can't ask something like that, bro. I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, again,
I don't think for me, I don't mind Czech leaving, by the way, because I was never convinced with him in the first place because it's the same thing I spoke about Lampard. Obviously, you missed it, Zia, because you weren't here. But the issue I have with people who talk about Lampard coming in is the experience. Czech was the same thing. The only dude that apart from Mendy, I don't think Czech had a hand in any signings, as far as I'm aware.
Bro, Petr Cech was advocating for us to keep Lukaku last season at the club.
Yeah, let's do that, man.
That's what I'm saying. He had no experience in play. So, as a sporting director, he wasn't to the standard, if you want to use those buzzwords, wasn't the standard that Chelsea expect because he had no experience.
Was in this thing just player development, making sure that the squad
he was a technical director.
Oh, was he? Fair enough. I actually didn't know. I didn't know what his position was at the time. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, man, we should have had a sporting director primed and ready. You know what I'm saying to start that process automatically. What
difference does that make?
Because then
they can bring their guy in.
They can bring the players in that were the right players at the time, not just
Yeah, but
Koulibaly out of nowhere.
How's that go?
What do you mean? But so did was it?
Bro, because they signed.
But they signed before Nagelsmann. Wasn't it? Didn't they not sign someone else before Nagelsmann? Potter.
Who?
Was that before or after Par? The Nagelsmann thing. It was after Par.
It was after Par, yeah. It was with the
sorry. But the thing is, didn't he reject us? I thought he rejected us, not Bivol.
Yeah, Nagelsmann rejected us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nagelsmann rejected us for a reason, bro.
Well, he rejected PSG for a reason, and now he's lamenting in Germany. So maybe just wasn't the right fit.
We sacked the manager that the club loved, the fans loved, won us so many cups.
Bro, loving someone is not going to solve your issue. Loving someone is not going to solve the issue, bro. I'll be honest with you. Big up Tuchel.
Why the guy left.
But listen, big up Tuchel. We sacked him. We didn't tell him to leave. You know what I mean? He didn't leave on his own accord. We actually sacked him.
Yeah.
Whether or not we like it or not, that's a different thing entirely. Now he's at Bayern. He's doing his own thing. Obviously, hopefully, we wish him the best success. But we can't keep on going back to the past and saying, we should have just kept him. We all loved him, yada yada yada. Because that's not going to help. That's not going to solve anything. Thinking about what happened in the past is not going to solve the future. I don't
think anything we can say now will solve the future, man. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I get what you mean about Tuchel. I wasn't an advocate of them sacking him. My problem isn't about him getting sacked though, per se. My problem is the way that they did it, in terms of if you're falling out with him, why wait when we are a few weeks into a season? You might as well sack him back in the summer when we were making transfers. Would have made the new manager coming in made things easier for him, apparently. But two, to sack him and not have any sort of plan in place in terms of a club structure, and then just to bring in Potter and bring in his backroom staff and hope that it works, that was also stupid. So not so much it's not so much sacking Tuchel, it's just
I think that's to add to your point, they were clearly planning the sacking, because didn't we sign Potter the day we sacked Potter? I mean, Potter,
it was 2 days difference between them.
No, but
it wasn't too long
Potter
after.
Was heavily linked the day of it. I remember Potter being heavily linked to Chelsea the day Tuchel got sacked.
Yeah, and apparently they were negotiating, having a bit of, when we signed Cucurella and stuff. Apparently they were trying to have Potter out.
You don't want to hear a funny story
But again, that's the thing. It doesn't make all of that whatever. Like, it's not about sacking Tuchel. It's just the way they've been doing everything so far. It's just all messy. They've had good intentions.
Let me tell you a little exclusive funny story. Exclusive, never been told before. Okay, I actually ran into Graham Potter. Okay, about the season before he joined Chelsea, right? The season before he joined, and as a joke, I was like, send Cucurella over to Chelsea, right? This is when Cucurella was popping off. Send Cucurella to Chelsea. The guy gave a wink and started laughing. Turns out they both joined the club. They both Cucurella, you know what? Fair play, Cucurella, man, coming back. And then Paul comes to Chelsea after that and just shits the bed. There you go, bro. That's your funny story, man.
You sounded
There's your bedtime story, Scott. Right?
You sounded so happy about telling that story.
Bro, like
going back to what Ziad was saying though.
Yeah, do you see why Scott didn't believe that when
the
you said
Ziyech thing?
Bro, I'm telling you, Enrique wanted
Ziyech. Ziyech stan, bro.
Yeah.
No, Enrique
he's a Ziyech stan. That's why I didn't believe him.
Going back to what Ziad said earlier, though, I did want to touch on this topic about the youth and us being responsible for developing them, and I'm seeing more and more what Ahmed's saying, because I look at how Arsenal developed their players. Saka had been at that club for a while. Martinelli, also a player that was in that club for a while. They sent Saliba out on multiple clubs, loans, and now he's their starter. We haven't done that with Mudryk. We haven't done that with Madueke. We haven't done that with, to a certain extent, you could argue Colwell, but he didn't want to go on a loan anymore.
He's been to back-to-back loans, though, however.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to leave if we didn't give him first team football, man.
Yeah. It does bring into question that, like, maybe there hasn't been a good plan and structure in place for developing these players,
but it also
outside of dropping our standards. Yeah, of course. Which is why you loan them out. You send them out to other clubs, and you get other players in their place.
Because Saka, Martinelli, and Saliba,
also,
they look great now, but when Martinelli first got to Arsenal, didn't look this good. Yeah, there was a bit of talent and potential, but like he wasn't
like 3 years to get to that level.
Yeah. Saliba had to take 2 loans out. Like, but Arsenal also had other young players. Everyone remembers Smith Rowe? Where is he now?
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I was gonna say also there's a bit of difference in some of those as well, by the way.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This
like the 3 players you mentioned, by the way, a bit different. Like Saliba was good enough to play for Arsenal. Like he wasn't necessarily this level, but he was already good enough to play for Arsenal when he first joined them. Like they got lucky in a sense of like after that loan to Marseille, he could have easily told him go fuck yourself because he was good enough to play for them then.
No, like, I know, but my point is but I'm using the point of Arsenal had also other young players with them. They had Smith Rowe, Ramsdale as well. Ramsdale, he looks like he's about to be sold. Like they brought in Raya, and Ramsdale's now second goalkeeper. Smith Rowe, everyone was saying Saka, Smith Rowe, they're the 2 star boys, best young player in the world. Where is he now? Even though he's injury prone, when he's fit, he doesn't get a look into the squad, never mind the 11. So
and I'm not gonna lie to you, this fan base doesn't have it, man.
My point being, you can have all these young players, but not
everyone.
Not everyone's going to make it. Majority of them will be done.
Unless you're an academy player, these fan base won't. You think this fan base will allow Mudryk to have another bad season? Mate, they'll rip it. I mean, Mudryk. No,
you know what the problem is?
I don't know. Mudryk is actually people actually like Mudryk, but like this fan base won't allow unless you're an academy player. Like I'm sorry, Saka is just Hudson-Odoi that didn't get the Achilles injury, bro. Respect Hudson-Odoi, man. Come on, big up chosen one, man.
No, the thing was no. Do you know what the thing with Saka is though? The thing with Saka and this like why that one doesn't run is because Saka had no expectations on him when he came through because he came through under Emery when they were dog shit. So like he came in the Europa League campaign to play some games because there was like a spot in the team. And at the start of his career, he was just filling in his holes. He was playing left mid, right mid, left back, centre mid, just to fill holes in the team at the start of his career. Like, and he came in with no expectations. It was the same as the young guys that came in for us under that Lampard season. Like, they came in with no expectations. So you're not expecting them to perform to the level. So when they hit and like they're carrying the club on your back, then it's like, oh shit. And that's the thing, and that was what it was with Saka. And that's why I don't put Saka in the same conversations, because he came in to that team when they were dog shit and there was no expectations.
Do you know what it is,
guys? Same with Smith Rowe, though.
But do you know what the?
Oh,
you know what it is, guys? Yeah, I just want to be. If you look at the guys here that we're signing, for example, Mudryk. The reason why, one of the reasons why there's so much pressure on that guy here, because if you brought him for quite a lot of money, you know what I'm saying? That I think for me is kind of also part of the issue. Sure. Well, when you're signing a lot of these young up and coming talents, if you look at Badi Shaw, I think we're gonna spend something like 30 million on Badi Shaw, right? And like he's actually shown like, you don't really have any, what's it called, expectation for him to be good or bad. You brought him for 30 million. Let's see what he can do, right? I think that probably would have been the case for Jackson, however, but obviously he's a starting striker for us right now. But we brought him for a similar price, but we didn't really have an expectation for him. But obviously, pre-season gassed everyone up for him, right? But he's like another case. Madueke, honestly, I think initially when we started seeing him, when we brought him for a similar amount of money. But like the thing is, when you're buying these guys, some of these guys for like 50, 60, and they're young players, you then run the risk here of them having to be automatic hitters. Look at Caicedo now. Caicedo is 21. We're now saying you must.
Enzo.
You paid 150 for me. Enzo, 106 million. You must. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the issue you're running into right now, if you're being honest. Like, look at Gusto, bro. Gusto's another good example. You brought him for how much did you buy him for? I think 29 million or 30 million. No expectations for him. And look, and he's actually playing well. That's the thing, though. Like, we need to actually, the price we're paying for them is a key thing for them as well.
So, Paulo, like, you know the show. You've been here multiple times. We're having a discussion, right? And one of the reasons I brought it up is because what if one of the mistakes that this board made was getting rid of so many experienced players and just revamping the whole entire squad, which, by the way, a lot of Chelsea fans, including myself, asked for this. I did ask for most of this team. I remember last year we actually went through the list of what players are we actually going to keep in the squad, and the rest can go. And then we had like only five really, like a handful. So, like, maybe was it a mistake on the board's part to get rid of so many of the more experienced players from the squad, last year's squad, and replacing them with these youngsters and not giving these youngsters the opportunity to potentially go on a loan to develop themselves as players, Mudryk being one example, and not Enzo, but maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say Caicedo or Enzo, really. Those are not good examples. But Madueke, another one, so on and so forth.
You know what it is, though? Marshall, right? We said this in the summer. We needed just 2 or 3 more guys that were, sort of like, not coming towards the end of their careers, but like their peaks were like maybe a year after their peak or 2 years. Yeah, like you bring them in, they can at least do a job for you if you need to win the game. But at the same time, the others can learn from them. We needed a few more. For me personally, big up Sterling, but I'm not sure Sterling's going to be able to teach, maybe these other wingers, or look after them, if that makes sense, right? Like, if we're being honest, like Disasi is 25 years old. Like, I'm not really expecting that guy to be showing automatic leadership. You get what I'm saying to you? So that's just Travis was the only one. Well, okay, but you know what? That's maybe. But I don't.
Bro, he's been someone that's only come in in the top league of France. Bro, he's been a player in the top league of France for like 4 seasons at least. He came, not even that. He played for Ram, and they were in the top league as well when he was playing for them. I think for at least one of the seasons he played for them. He was also the club captain of the team we just signed him from. I expect him to lead from the front to begin with straight away.
I'm not gonna lie. Bro, I'm looking at transfer market right now. I don't think we deep how young our squad is.
We really know it's very young.
It's young.
I don't think we deep how young our players are.
Yeah, we got average age of I think 21.
That's why
average age is 25.
We've got the third youngest squad in the league.
Marshall,
we had the youngest squad.
No, we've got the third youngest if you include squad, I think.
Marshall, that's why when you're talking about loaning players out, I'm like, well, no, because this is meant to be the season where we have no expectations, so these players can actually bed in, play, and develop. No one's expecting us to challenge for the league, get top 4, win
Poch,
anything.
apparently. Yeah.
That's
No,
cap. That's
no,
cap.
but
That's
I'm
cap.
talking
That's cap, bro.
but like, what do you mean?
I
It's
agree with
cap?
Prime.
We
From
are
a fan
defo-
perspective,
we are
what's
therefore
cap?
expected to be getting Champions League football.
Okay, no, but
100%.
but Ziad,
You lost your mind.
Ziad,
I've not lost
you
my
know
mind.
what? Oh my,
Huh?
Ziad, you know what I mean. You know what I mean, though. Like, we're expected to play, develop these young players, and if we're winning games and we're doing well and we can get top
Bro,
4,
you
then
lot,
fine.
you lot in this illusion that Chelsea
Ziad,
developed.
Ziad, take your emotions
What's
out
wrong
of
with
this.
this guy, man?
Like, listen to what I'm saying. We're
So
meant
Ziad,
to
are you telling me? Ziad, are you telling me we haven't developed players
hold
before?
on, Scott. Hold on.
No,
This
Scott.
is meant to be the season where these players play and develop, and it's not about the fine line of, oh, we haven't won the league, we haven't got top 4, we haven't won anything. It's about developing these and nurturing these players this season. We're not
Okay,
doing
let's just let's look at the Everton starting lineup. Yeah, all right. Reece James, bowler. All right, when he's not injured.
Experience.
Okay, solid. Centre backs. What's his face?
Badiashile.
Okay, they are more than good enough. I'm not gonna sit here and saying, nah, I'll give them a season to develop. More than good enough in their position, right?
I agree.
And Enzo Caicedo, let's not even go there, bro. These are the best, one of the best, if not the best in the league in their position. Okay, Mudryk, fair enough. I'll give you to develop, because when I watch that guy play, sometimes I want to scratch my eyeballs out. Okay, I've never seen someone who's so fast and so tricky and nippy, but he wants to come inside to collect the ball when he's got 4 players around him. Makes no sense. So Mudryk, okay, cool. Gallagher, yeah. What's his face on the right? Who we call it? Who started off the right, man?
Sterling.
He didn't start.
It was
no, it was Palmer.
Palmer.
Ziad, what's your point? Ziad, what's your point?
What is the point here?
You're trying to say they're good enough to stick to win UCL
you look at our squad. There is more players that we can say, no, you're good enough for us to challenge for the top 4 now and get Champions League football now. Then say nah. Then say nah. I'll give you a season off. I'll see 2 off.
Hold on.
And bottle Champions League football.
Hold on, Ziad. We're clearly not good enough to automatically get top 4, because these games that we've been losing. Why is it then we've been complaining about Jackson continuously missing sitters? We've been complaining about Sterling.
Jackson's shit.
Hold on, stop.
I was going to say, do you know what I'll say? Prime. Do you know what the way I'm looking at it? I'd say.
Let me finish. These young players that are meant to be, quote unquote, the future, that we're meant to be using this season to develop them without pressure, because we know what Chelsea is like. We pressure all of our players. This is meant to be the season where these players don't have the pressure and they're able to just develop and grow. And
that don't happen at Chelsea, man.
Ziad, actually listen to what I'm. Does anyone not get what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying, Prime. Prime is basically saying, but the reality is, Ziad, yeah, that was true of the old ownership. You know what I'm saying? I'll be honest, that was true of the old ownership. With the new ownership, that's what they're trying to do.
Are they by spending 100 million, 200 million on 2 players?
No,
are they?
But why would we bring in all these young players then if we weren't gonna like?
How many of them are even in our squad, bro?
What?
They're all on loan.
What do you mean they're all on loan?
You're talking about these young players that hold up, man. This is what I was getting back to the Everton team. In our current squad right now, not the players on loan. In the current squad right now, how many? Name me the players that you say need a season to develop or go on.
A lot of them are one, young, and
Jackson, Broja.
Broja, come on, man. That guy's been there for how many years?
Ziad, we also these players are not a team. This isn't a team yet. They're just a bunch of individuals.
Exactly.
So, I think 2 things can be true. Go ahead, Ahmed. Ahmed, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I think what Ziad is not getting yet is that a lot of what's it called? There's a completely different thing that's taking place now to what was happening before. And the issue, I think, for me more so than anything is, yes, we need these players to develop, but the problem is we have not developed the system but to allow us to win, in my opinion. That is where I think the issue is. Like, if these guys aren't doing well, okay, at least they have some level of system they can fall back on to create or style of play, I should say, that will allow us to have that winning formula. Yeah, we may lose games. Yeah, we may win. We may lose games if these players aren't good enough because they currently still need to develop. But at least we'll have the system there to at least be like can get close to it. That's the problem right now.
But you have to we have to be the elite team to get Champions League football. We can
no, but you're not
get Champions League football.
But again, bro, you're not getting my point. These players though are not Champions League level yet. That's the difference. They're not.
I do think our defense. The one thing I will say, I think our defense and midfield is
on your attack.
Yeah, they have.
I would say our attack is the main problem, and that's where I put this on the manager though, where I go, you have a system or could make a system where we had a system where the defense was solid, you have the midfield
under
set,
Potter,
and then you just have to the attack is going to be frustrating as shit. We all know that, and I'm calm with that. If the system behind it is good and we can some games or I can see some stuff. I'm calm with us being in 7th, 8th outside the Champions League. If our midfield looks set, our defense looks set, and we're just having problems in attack because of the inexperienced front line out.
And that's
what I'm saying. This is a correct role.
That's what I was gonna. Yeah, and that's what I was. This is what I mean. That's what I was gonna allude to, because two things can be right in this situation. I this idea that our team is inexperienced, it's too inexperienced. I think that's bullshit when you think about it, because I said this in the last stream, and this is where I agree with Ziad. I said this in the last stream. When you take our best starting lineup, when you get rid of all these injuries, the only parts of the lineup where you have the inexperience, assuming you start the players in their position, right? We saw a Cucurella or Choa on left back instead of a Colwell, and you have an actual left winger in Sterling, for example. The only positions where you have inexperience is really right wing and attack, and not attack. I'm sorry, a striker with Jackson. So what Scott's saying is absolutely right, but at the same time, and I said this in the beginning of the season, because I agree with Prime, is that this is going to take time to develop, because they need to develop a tactic. They need to develop they need to have the chemistry. They need to develop a style of play, which we've talked about multiple times in this on this channel. They need to, and that's going to take time. That's why when we did our predictions, I said real quick, Scott, before you go, I said early when we did our predictions early this season, I said Chelsea. I was inclined to say 6th, but I said, you know what? We'll do 5th, because this team does have quality to be up there and competing. We shouldn't be this low in the table. But I understood that this is going to take time, and we're not going to be competing in the Prem. Go ahead, Scott.
I was just going to say, no one can tell me that our squad as a whole isn't at least on par with Man United's and Brighton's. You can't tell me that.
No, I agree 100%. We are underperforming, which is why I agree.
And that's what I'm saying. The teams I just named, by the way, are 6th and 8th. Newcastle is debatable. I'd say their squad is probably overall better than ours. It's more well-rounded, and everyone 5th and above, I'd probably argue the same. Villa's a debate, but
Scott, you say by some miracle. I mean, it might not be that big of a miracle because of Osimhen, right? Because of the transfer link. Say we actually get Osimhen in January, okay? Sit there and tell me that squad and that starting 11 is not good enough to get Champions League football and actually play in UCL.
But this is where
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But also, by the way, on this comment, that this is true, but then on the same token, we're only 10 points from the relegation zone. So
huh? But
tell me, I think Osimhen to this team does it makes us that squad.
No. And this is hang on. On paper, adding Osimhen to this team should make us a almost guaranteed top 4 team. However, with this manager, it won't make a difference.
That's what I wanted to get at, Ziad, with this manager, because last season we were defensively sound, and I think we can all agree this season our defense, with the same players, by the way, for the most part, we didn't really add anything except for Disasi and Colwell. So we're relatively the same players. Badiashile is still here. Silva's still here. James, unreliable, but we have Gusto, who's been good. And then the left back situation is up in the air.
If we're being honest,
I'm just saying,
3 new players. If we're being honest,
but I'm just saying, you could say from last year to this season, we've improved on the defense when you look at it on paper. But we're conceding, we're leaking goals like a motherfucker. And that's what's been costing us so many games this season, is the amount of goals that we're leaking in the back. So, offensively, we look a little better. we've been scoring more goals than we're at a rate where we're scoring more goals than we were at this rate last season, but we're conceding like crazy, and that's on Poch.
See, I had this conversation earlier, and listen, I have criticized Poch a lot, and a lot of what's happening right now is because of him. But I just can't, and I don't think we can ignore what we saw in preseason and the start of the season, and against West Ham and Liverpool. We can't ignore that. That doesn't go out the window.
Ziad, you're right. We can't ignore that. But we also cannot ignore what we've seen against Everton.
No, I'm saying we have to take both of them into consideration. So I feel like that's why I feel like as much as what's going on is shit, I feel like writing off this guy right now, it's like, because I'm sorry, what I saw pre-season and the Liverpool game, bro, I was gassed. Bro, I was so
been on a
gassed.
decline, though, Zayed. You can agree, though, Zayed. It's been on a decline. We've slowly been declining to the form that we're in right now. And we're only playing once a week.
I have my answer to that, but the score's not gonna like it, bro. We had this conversation yesterday,
I'll be so real. Chelsea fans won't want to say this. I'll be so real. The only reason why you guys got gassed about preseason and the Liverpool game is because we were so bad last season. In my personal opinion,
get the fuck out of it. Get the fuck out of it, man. No, get the fuck out of it.
You're not entirely wrong. You're not entirely wrong.
Can you mute him so I can finish?
You can finish. You can finish. Yeah,
in my personal opinion, preseason, there was like I personally wasn't gassed. All I saw was a bunch. I personally wasn't gassed. Like, people talking about preseason was, oh, this is the reason why we will definitely get top 4 and we will be one of the best teams in the league. Like, no, it was nothing special in preseason.
Not wrong. It's not entirely wrong. I was impressed because we like had a style almost. You know,
I wasn't impressed.
But you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
100%.
And even in the Liverpool game, like, if that second goal had stood, and based on what we know about refereeing decisions and VAR in the Prem, it very easily could have stood. That second goal stood, floodgates would have opened, and Liverpool would have beat us.
I think the fact that Spot is quiet, I think
he
agrees with me.
2-0 down that quickly against Liverpool, like, the floodgates would have opened. Like, we are not, like, even the good game, supposedly, I don't know why we're getting gassed so quickly. We get gassed too quickly. Like,
there has to be an explanation for those big game against the top 6 to.
The explanation is when we played Arsenal, they underestimated us, and we like played above our level as if we are a Burnley or something. Same as when we played Spurs. Same as when we played City. Funny enough, we played a big team in Man United. We thought it'd be easy, and we deservedly lost.
Bottled it.
And then keep in mind, we did not beat Arsenal. We had a position to beat them, and we bottled it. Against Man City, we did not beat them. Against Spurs, it took until the 70-something minute to start winning.
9 men down.
Being 9 men down. They were playing a high 9 on the halfway line, kamikaze, and we couldn't score until how long? No. Listen, get this man out. I don't know why you guys got gassed. Get this man out.
What I'm saying is Lavia, Enzo, Caicedo with Palmer and Kunku and Mudryk, top 4 he'll become, bro. That's what I'm saying, man.
Okay, so you're saying this manager.
Have some belief, man. Have some belief.
Hold on. So this manager needs a fully fit squad to do anything. Get him out.
Can I?
You're gonna have injuries.
Why are we acting like Lavia is gonna be a top class player coming in? Like, this guy.
Because he's a £60 million player that the whole Premier League wants.
See that? How much is he worth again?
I don't know how much he's worth, but we bought for 60.
That's the problem, bro.
50, yeah.
You see what I'm saying, Marshall? This is what when I was saying to you.
Yeah, but
he's
he's
Ziad is like Ziad is beating because he's worth that money. He has to perform automatically.
No, but he was a player that would have been signed in this current Liverpool squad that will be challenging for the league. So why can't he play in our squad?
Because Liverpool are better than us.
Yes. Liverpool are better than us. One second, Ziad, yeah. Liverpool are better than us. Liverpool have a proven system which allows players to fit in a lot quicker than us. Yeah.
And Liverpool have a proven manager that can actually develop players to a world-class level to win.
Exactly.
Listen, bro. What I'm saying is they're game changers, bro. They're gonna be game changers, man.
I think they will be, but
they won't be game changers.
I don't know. I think they will be, but I don't think they're going to save our season.
The way we're acting about Nkuku, I told you, man, Nkuku Christ there is the real thing, bro. Because we're thinking about him. We're asking him to shoot. We're asking him to become the greatest creative player ever. We're asking him to be Hazard. You know?
And who was it? Who was it the other day?
How many points
reading a tweet the other day? Oh, come
top
on,
four.
11 points. 11.
We're closer to relegation than we are top 4.
Yeah, well, I know that, bro. I'm talking about how many actual points. Yeah. Does anyone know?
But you know what? Like, I agree with what Ahmed's saying, and I think the other day, maybe it was today actually. I was reading one of the tweets about Nkunku, and Scott corrected it, saying striker. It was the part that mentioned striker. I don't know if that happened here, or I'm thinking, but there was a part.
No, I didn't correct you. It's one of the tweets you said. I think David Ornstein tweeted and it said something like, we're interested in a striker or someone who can play all across the front, like the front line, which is fucking Nkunku.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, yeah, but there was another tweet. Maybe I didn't have it part of the show. Maybe it was part of another show. But it was like, oh, they're no, when Nkunku returning, it's going to be good for the striker to come back or something like that. It's like, wait, Nkunku's not a striker, so now we're putting this expectation that Nkunku's going to come in, be a striker, score goals, and save our season. Which
Marshall, this is the thing. We're back to the Kai Havertz thing, and not because Nkunku's a bad player in that sense. I mean, we're back to the Kai Havertz thing. We don't know where the fuck he's going to play. And not because we don't know his position, because we don't know where the manager's going to play him. He could genuinely play anywhere in the front line, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Fluid's front three.
I'm feeling it. Left
wing. Palmer, Kuka, Mudryk. We'll cook it, bro.
We'll see.
Bro, hang on. How is it fluid if Mudryk's there?
Why not?
Also, Ziad,
because Mudryk can only play on the left.
Hold on, Ziad. You're saying front three, but Poch also said back in preseason that Nkunku can play as an 8.
Did he actually?
Really? Did he?
Yeah, he did.
He did. He was talking about Mudryk, or not Mudryk.
Oh, you don't remember this stuff?
He was talking about Nkunku.
Don't remember that. Yeah.
He was talking about how he can even play. He was talking about the positions, and I can even play as an 8 in a 3-man midfield.
Oh, based on preseason, looks like
CFC.
Get the best out of him, bro. That's what
I know. Everyone knows he can play as a striker, but we want him in his ideal position, which is number 10. The fact that now he's being categorized as a striker because of how bad Jackson's been this season, or not bad, but like how not up to standard Jackson's been this season. Now we're relying on him to be the guy to solve our goal scoring drought and all, not goal scoring drought, but our goal scoring efforts and woes.
Also, if Nkunku is going to be our striker, why are we linked with Osimhen and Tony? If Nkunku's our striker, that makes no sense.
I agree. But,
sorry,
no, you're fine. That being said, listen, what did I say earlier before we started the stream? I made the show so that we could finish before 3 hours, and we're over 3 hours. So it happens. This is what happens with Chelsea. This is what happens with Casually FC. We just go on and talk football because we love to talk football and we love to talk Chelsea.
Quick one, Marshall. I just double checked. In Nkunku's, the most games he's played in a certain position has been centre mid.
Yeah, he played a lot. He played a lot of centre mid at PSG, and when
that's the most he's played in one position.
And when he first joined Leipzig as well, he played as a centre midfielder.
Oh, wow.
So he played 64 games in his career as a centre mid. And then 55 as a
he started as a centre mid. He came through as a centre mid at PSG.
And 50 games as a second striker. So he's only played 5 more games. I mean, second striker. So he's only played 5 more games in a 10 than he did as a second striker. So this guy is
really interesting.
FC, bro.
And listen, I just hope we get the best out of him and he plays well, because we need him to come into this team and at least set a standard, something. I don't think he's going to save our season, but he definitely will help us get some results or something, maybe. Or maybe he doesn't. We'll see. But that being said, big up to the panel. Big up to Ziad and Prime, who joined us later on the show. Big up to Oliver Scott, the Bridge 258. Thank you guys for being here. That being said, we're going to raid our boy, our brother, our mud brother in Christ, Flawless. So show him some love by copying, pasting the raid message right here. You guys copy and paste. Get out of here with Marshall Bowley thing, man. I just backed my club. All right. But yeah, copy and paste
Marshall
that.
Glaze
Let
is
them know where
early.
you're coming from.
Let's make it coming.
Where you're coming from. Be sure
Also,
if you haven't done so
Marshall,
already.
tell Bowley
Yes.
to he forgot our last week's payment. Bowley forgot last week's payment for us, so
Yeah, I need a Bowley payment. I need a Bowley check. Guys, smash up the like buttons. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. On our way to 2.5K. We're very, very close to 2.4. So help us get there. Be sure to also hit the bell notification so you don't miss out whenever we do go live. Check out the links in the description down below for all other types of content. Be sure to also leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts on everything that we discussed in today's show. All the fun topics that we had a good in-depth conversation about. And check out the memberships. We have 4 different tiers. And at the proper casual and higher tier, you get a shout out at the end of every show. And that's going to go out to OG Turbo Jesus, Dark, Scott, Adrian, Will, and A. Solomon. Big up to you guys for your support. Big up to the support of everyone else who's also a member in the chat. And yeah, check all that stuff out. We'll be back Sunday. Wait, when's the game?
Saturday.
It's on Saturday. Okay, so we'll be back Saturday. Saturday.
I wish it was Sunday.
Yeah,
Sunday.
we'll be back Saturday to react to the game.
It was Saturday.
I'm pretty sure it's Saturday.
It is Saturday. It's Saturday.
I wish it was Saturday, man.
Yeah,
It
so
is
we'll be
Saturday.
back Saturday to discuss the game, and then hopefully, oh my God, hopefully it's a win. Oh man, hopefully. But guys, we're gonna go raid Flawless and Sarcasm City. Big up to y'all. Have a good night. Stay casual. Peace.
Who corrupts?